going to call this meeting of the Concord City Council to order. This is the Monday, April 13th, 2026 meeting. Would you please, one thing I want to mention is if you have difficulty hearing and you would like supplemental hearing devices, they are available. They are basically go over your ears. They're piped right into the sound system. So if you need that help, you can obtain one of those devices in the back at the cabinet where the hand is waving, thanks to Concord TV and Mike. Thank you, Mike. All right. All right, would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilor Brown.
Here.
Mayor Champlin.
Present.
Councilor Davey.
Here.
Councilor Fennessy.
Present.
Councilor Foote.
Present.
Councilor Grady Sexton. Here. Councilor Warren.
Here.
Councilor Caleb.
Here.
Councilor Keach.
Here.
Councilor Kretovic. Here. Councilor Kurtz.
Here.
Councilor Schlosser.
Here.
Councilor Schultz. Me? Here. Councilor Sekou.
Here.
And Councilor Todd.
Here.
Very well. I'll entertain a motion to approve the City Council meeting minutes of March 9th, 2026.
Move approval. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. That brings us to a presentation. Is Justin, I don't see Justin Cantor. There he is. You are hidden.
Presentation. I don't know if I have necessarily a presentation.
Or remarks. You know, I was thinking the other day, is that my hat?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I was thinking the other day that we, in my time as a city councilor and as mayor, have had a wild ride. I mean, there have been lots of challenges at the department. You know, the overtime stresses on the team. Also the changes in deputy chiefs. You know, both deputy chiefs have rolled over. But I was thinking that we've accomplished a lot with PFAS-free turnout gear for the department, and the new equipment like the tower truck that arrived, a month ago, something like that, and the contracts that we've negotiated for and the changes in that contract, which I think we reduced the steps, and also authorized 5% increases over the current year and the next 3. So it's been a great ride. So I'm interested in hearing what you're going to say.
Do I have you on the edge of your seat? Well, first and foremost, yes, thank you, Justin Cantor, Union President, proud Union President of the Concord Firefighters Union, and this is my last month serving in that role as I've decided to step away and not rerun for an election to try and spend some more time with my young family, 2 kids who have gotten me sick, so I apologize if I'm difficult to understand. But I appreciate that. I did want to come and really, first and foremost, say thank you to all of you. Over the last 5 years, it's been quite a journey, and I've been fortunate enough to develop relationships and really meet with each and every one of you to be able to have a turn at advocating for the fire department, where I just have nothing but great things to say. I recognize that I'm partial in that. But I think there have been a number of things that, with the support of this council and the community, we have been able to accomplish in the last 5 years that I think we oftentimes forget to pause and maintain perspective of the good things that we do, as we're always tend to be in crisis mode. So, you're on the edge of your seats because I wanted to say thank you, and I appreciate that, and I hope the relationships that we've been able to forge with you guys to continue to grow as new leadership comes in. And if I could just have a minute or so to kind of go out the door with some advocacy, because it's just been the mainstay of why I think I'm here, and I think it's important that our folks have a great voice and you kind of hear it from the ground up perspective. And I'll work on my brevity. I'll try to be quick if that's okay.
Sure.
I know where it's that hot ticket, looking at the agenda tonight, that budget is fast coming, and you guys will be looking at the pocketbook of the city and balancing what's important for the needs of this community and what you can pallet for tax rates. As many of you know, I think even some have still sat on this council back in the day, when we had our highest point of staffing in the fire department, which was this body that approved it in 2002 for a fourth engine, which we implemented in 2003 and unfortunately closed in 2009, reduced in 08, closed in 2009 due to the turn of the economy. The economy is very tight. I don't think we lack perspective on the community's feelings around the budget and how much things cost. And we are also taxpayers here in the city of Concord, and so we bear that burden as well. But a lot of things that have changed in just a 30-year look back at the fire department, we've doubled our call volume. And if you think of things in sense of a business, if we accomplished, just say tasks, and we accomplished 100 things a year, and that's what we had as benchmarks, and as time went on and you were able to double that productivity, but not augment staff at all, you would probably sit back and reevaluate, did we have too much time on our hands previously? Or what's falling off the plate for us to handle that increase? I think it was 112% increase in the last 30 years. Now, it could be said that we had good staffing levels back then, but there was also a measurable difference of the things that we can accomplish in a single day on duty. And I'm sure the fire chief, there's a lot of people who can speak to the advocacy. I know Tom is very well aware of these things. But because we haven't always been the most analytical people and we don't crunch numbers on every task that we do, it is hard to ultimately pull data to be able to encapsulate the life of the firefighters, the paramedics, and our fire alarm operators, to be able to help convey the impact that we live in today and what we're able to accomplish. And I was just looking before I came up to see, in the last 10 years, we've hired about 50% of the fire department that we staff today. So 50% of our brothers and sisters that work on the line have 10 years or less tenure. Well, as you can imagine, there's immense training needs with our organization. Our industry is constantly changing. We have a fantastic fire department. Recognize that I'm partial again. But in order to maintain that, there has to be a sense of balance. Now, I'd be lying to you if I knew what balance meant, and that's my wife probably telling me, what am I doing? She knows that I don't have balance. I apologize about that.
You didn't leave one of the kids in the car, did you?
No, I don't think so. She's the one that I need to try to make happier. But to be short and sweet, there's so much that we used to accomplish that have fallen off to the wayside. And I think a general sentiment that could be said, whether you work what we call the suppression on the floor, answering emergency calls, or you work in our fire alarm division, who are the heroes behind the microphone. I mean, I was just looking at data that they do nowadays. Last year they did 30,000 calls for services because it's a mutual aid compact that they dispatch for. There's 24 communities that they tone out resources to ambulance services in a hazmat team. And they answer, while that's going on, over 70,000 phone calls. They're responsible for, in the area, over 500 resources to try to allocate resource. They're the backup system. If things go down for our sister agency in the Lakes region, they basically handle every nightmare that we couldn't even possibly imagine, all behind the microphone. And between fire alarm and the suppression division, we haven't really seen growth, and I say that asterisk because we did take a leap of faith and increase the staffing in 2022 for a fourth ambulance, which I want to basically say it took us from drowning to we're just about at chin level. And really where we missed the mark, because we're just running from emergency calls to emergency calls, is all the other needed things that we haven't been good at analyzing. It is the needed training. It is the needed time to make sure our equipment's operational. We have large assets between our buildings, between the fire apparatus, between the small equipment, and all of that stuff besides the comp that really does the big stuff, is maintained and kept by us. These are assets that the community has invested in that get to live such a long life because we're able to take care of it. The demands of the job are crazy, and although those that see everything in a business sense probably don't like the thought of downtime, you still need downtime in order to be a human, in order to do this job well, in order to come home to a family and not take out all of the demons that happened in the shift on your significant others. And we're losing that ability. And we've gone a long time. It's been, I think, 24 years, 23 years since that resource was realized it was needed for this community. And the thought that it might not be on the horizon, I think, is just unpalatable for the survivability of our organization. Now, what's the reality? For those that work in public government, understand that employees will always be pinched to do more because you have not a lot of money. But I like to think that the community remains structured to a few core things. I know, Brent, you talk about this a lot of times, the core values of a community. And I think to be able to remain sustainable as an organization, we're going to need the community's support, and I'm talking to the community, hopefully, and of course you guys as the decision makers. And I really hope that come this budget season, I know you're going to be prioritizing where money goes, but we are in need of help and we are in need of growth. And I look back to the few that are able to make it here tonight because just everyone's so tired from all the great work that they do and the demands. And someone once told me the greatest thing about employees in terms of an asset is that your employees, out of all the assets that we own in the community, they're the only ones that have the ability to appreciate and not just depreciate. So with that, I want to say thank you. I think it's been a hell of a ride. I've had a good time. Sorry that I swore. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than glad to answer anything.
Thank you, Justin. Any questions for Justin?
Just thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate it. All right. With that, I bid you a fun and exciting evening.
Thank you. Go find that
Wife,
kid.
we said hello.
All right, thank you. That takes us to our consent agenda. I'll note that items 22 and 23 have been pulled from the consent agenda, will be taken up at the end of our meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councilor Brown?
Yes, Your Honor, I am recusing myself from item number 35 as my husband is a police officer.
Thank you, Councilor. All right. Any other recusals?
Mine's pulled later.
Okay.
I'll recuse then.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? The ayes have it. All right, that brings us to our public hearing portion of our meeting. Madam City Clerk, item 38A.
It is a resolution appropriating the sum of $385,000 in the Memorial Field Facility Improvement Project to remove and secure bleachers, authorizing a transfer from the general fund in the sum of $385,000, appropriating the sum of $385,000 in general fund balance for this purpose.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager.
Your Honor, members of the council, the existing stadium bleachers at Memorial Field have reached the end of their serviceable life. Visible structure deterioration, including corrosion, material fatigue, and potential instability creates an elevated risk of injury, and continued use of it exposes us to significant liability. In addition to safety concerns, the current bleachers do not meet modern building and accessibility standards, which we'd like to comply with. Continued noncompliance increases our legal exposure again and may impact insurance coverage and risk ratings. In the coming months, the City Council and the community will consider long-term improvements through the new master plan concepts for the Memorial Field complex. Regardless of the direction ultimately chosen, existing bleachers will need to be addressed. Acting now is necessary and responsible investment, not a premature expenditure. Staff recommends, and we're giving you two options here, staff recommends option 2. Option 1 is to block off access to the center section, and this is regarding the baseball field bleachers, also do baseball separate from football and the press box. To block off the access to the center section of the bleachers, of the baseball diamond, the steel beams and the seating would remain in place. However, the entire center structure would be secured and inaccessible to the public. Option 2, which is the recommended option, is to remove the steel beams and seating in the middle section and store the materials on site. This approach improves safety immediately while preserving components that may be reused for reconstruction in the future. The football bleachers, this option includes full removal of the main grandstands, the press box, and the visitor bleachers. If actionable soil contamination is identified beneath the bleachers, affected materials would be removed. The area would then receive new loam and seed. A new 10 by 10 foot ground level structure would be installed to house electrical and PA systems and act as a press box. So if you put those, the option 1 for the baseball field bleachers is recommended option is $85,000. Football bleachers press box is $300,000. And whether you do it today or do it when you come up to whatever conclusion you're going to do for Memorial Field, you're going to be spending these dollars. So to me, it makes sense to spend the dollars now and protect the public. Glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for the city manager? Councilor Fennessy.
Thank you. Just had a couple questions for the city manager. With respect to the baseball field bleachers, I've been asked if we did option 2, what would become of the sort of the press box in the middle section there?
I'd ask Mr. Gill. Let's see.
Mr. Gill?
Bring your team with you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. David Gill, the Parks and Recreation Director. I do have some folks in the Turner Group here in case there's additional questions, if it's okay. Wanna do introductions real quick?
Hi, good evening. Bill Hickey from the Turner Group.
And Paige Wilbur with the Turner Group.
Back to the question, the press box is a freestanding building, so it would still be operational.
Follow up?
I'm going to guess this is probably directed to you, Mr. Gill. On the football bleachers portion, part of the proposal includes a new ground level structure for electrical and the PA system. I was under the impression that the school district, at least, wasn't planning on hosting any games there. So do we need that?
It's a $15,000 shed, so from a consideration, it's more of the Concord Youth Football still is there. They use the PA system. Also, it's, how long is it going to sit there? The field is it Concord School District or Bishop Brady, are they able to find locations for the next year or 2 or 3? So I think it was a wise investment to put shed there and utilities there for potential future use.
Thank you.
Councilor Brown.
Yes, I have a few questions. I'm just looking on the report, page 2, fiscal year 2013. I just don't understand what this line means, actually probably for the city manager or Mr. Gill. Funds to replace concession building that was taken down in 2001, placed in fiscal year 24. What does that mean, funds placed in fiscal year 24? Does that mean the expectation was, were there, yeah.
Yes. So the idea was City Council placed dollars and said in fiscal year 2024, we'll anticipate actually doing that work.
So no money was actually put, it was just pushed out to 2024. All right.
Follow up?
Follow up, yes. So I noticed then in fiscal year 2017, and then again in fiscal year 2021, bleacher replacement was pushed out. In 2017, it was pushed out to fiscal year 2019. In fiscal year 2021, it was pushed out to 2024. Now it's been, it will be almost 10 years since it was recommended. Why did we wait 10 years to do, to replace the bleachers?
You have other priorities that you put in front of that.
Okay, okay.
Any other questions for Councilor Caleb?
Yes, so these are at the end of their serviceable life. When was the last time these bleachers for football or baseball were like used functionally by people sitting?
They were used last year.
Okay.
They've been used continuously since they got put up in the early 70s.
Thank you.
Councilor Sekou, did you have your hand up?
Yes, Your Honor. I think this is for the city manager. How many proposals did we get for the 385? Because you said either we do it now or later, it's the same price. What was the process to get to where we are, the 385? And was there any other alternative that we explored? Oh, okay.
That's why we have.
Okay.
I will actually call up General Services Director Jeff Hogan because his team actually got the quotes, so only 3 seats.
Mr.
Welcome,
Mayor,
welcome,
councilors.
Mr. Hogan.
Good evening. So my role in this particular project was to go out and find 3 quotes from our on-call vendor, that's Milestone. So the quotes that we got were for the removal of the Memorial Field bleachers. And then the second was a quote for removing the center section over at the baseball field and then blocking off access. Those are the 3 quotes that you saw in the report. The last 2 that I talked about were option 1 and option 2 for the bleachers at the Ball Diamond.
Follow up?
Thank you. And out of all those, they came from the same company?
Correct. We go ahead and do an RFP for an on-call vendor,
Yes.
and that's where we went.
Okay. Thank you.
Could I clarify? Could I ask for clarification? So our on-call vendor is Milestone, but Milestone went out and looked for subcontractors. Is
Yes,
that correct?
that's correct.
So there were a variety of bids that came in from subcontractors.
We did all of our work through the general contractor of Milestone.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Councilor Kurtz.
Thank you. So just to further clarify, there's no option to keep the football bleachers in place safely and rope them off. Sorry, excuse me, I tickled my throat. We don't have multiple options here because the conclusion of the team is that the only safe option is to fully tear them down. Is that correct?
That's correct. We think it would be an attractive nuisance, and no matter what you do, people are going to use the bleachers unless they're not there.
Thank you. I was just clarifying.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilor Horn.
We're obviously in the midst of trying to figure out the entirety of Memorial Field and what parts we're redoing, so this is the start of that project, obviously. Are we getting the school district to pay half of this since we've now moved into the Memorial Field redo?
That's something you would have to negotiate with the school district. So this situation is, if you take the bleachers down now, you can look at it as no matter what, under any scenario, we believe the bleachers need to come down. So you can either take them down now, and this could be the initial portion of the city's effort related to this, or in the overall cost of the project, and from there you can negotiate with whatever entities you want in terms of who shares is what and what's going to cost. So that's not something staff would do with school board members. That's between the city council and the school board to direct that and decide what's appropriate.
Any other questions? Councilor Horn.
How is the mechanism that the entire council negotiates with the entire school board?
You direct city staff to negotiate, you give them some parameters, negotiate, the school board would do the same, and then the 2 staffs would meet together, come up with some options, bring those options back to you, and then you would decide what's appropriate. And both parties would need to agree on the same option, if you wanted to move forward.
Councilor Kurtz. Schultz, sorry.
Good, quick,
I know, I put you together.
quick correction. So we could, I hear the suggestion is the concern over safety is to bring down the football bleachers, but we could fence it off. We could.
Yes.
And post strongly worded legal notices. I mean, is that something that we would then have to recommend or get a price for that? it'd probably be a lot cheaper.
We could probably figure that out on our own with,
It's included within the Memorial Field bleacher quote, but that's part of the entire quote. I wouldn't know exactly what it was if it was for an extended period of time.
you just tell us that's what you'd like to do, and we take care of it.
Councilor Keach.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Mr. Holdley, just to be clear, those bleachers are going to come down one way or another, whether it's this year or whenever Memorial Field gets renovated.
That's correct.
And follow up?
Yes, follow
And
up.
it would be fair to say every year this is delayed, the price goes up?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Very good. Oh, Councilor Kurtz.
Thank you,
Pardon me.
Mr. Mayor. Just a question about the ground level structure, the substitute press box, temporary press box that Councilor Fennessy asked about, and you indicated there are some events going on that would still require housing for electrical and PA, because electric is the lights as well?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Understanding that, I don't love the idea of paying to build a structure that will then tear down. Can you speak to
Yep.
that?
We quoted a reed ferry type shed, so it would not be on a cement base, but kind of on a gravel base. And we could repurpose that whenever the decision was to do Memorial Field. We could repurpose it to another park for storage or keep it at Memorial Field for storage.
Okay.
So it's not a permanent structure.
Great, thank you very much.
Councilor Todd.
Thank you. I'm going to ask a question you have an answer for, so get ready. I'll ask it anyway. When these bleachers were built, do we have any sense of the funding? In other words, do we know if the city in fact paid for erecting these bleachers, or if it was a joint decision back then? think
I have
we
the answer.
We have a counselor who has an answer.
It involved a substantial amount of federal funds.
Okay.
Yeah, we received land and water conservation funds in the early 70s. Fred Skeet's dad's got it for the city, so it was a combination of federal dollars and city dollars.
Good, thank you.
Councilor Sekou.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have few questions, and hopefully you will answer
Keep
that
looking
in.
at me as you go.
What has been your conversation with the school, if there was any?
Regarding the
Correct.
bleachers, the only conversation I've had was with the athletic director, and he's in agreement of the condition of the bleachers and their concern for the participants and the spectators. So they were grateful that we were trying to move forward with something. We did not discuss anything regarding who pays what and how that is, but everybody's in agreement that they've passed their prime.
Follow up.
Thank you, Your Honor. For me, it's not even about the pay, because, of course, we all care about our kids, we care about the safety of our community, and I'm raising 3 of them here, and I think it's very important for children to be given the opportunity to play outside. My question is really related to what is the plan going forward. As Michelle eloquently said, this is the beginning of the Memorial Field work. And we want to know, because I think usually we short our conversation, we come with 1 item, 2 items. But I think it will be very good to have a plan between you and the school. What has been discussed? What do we need to be aware of so that the support will be there?
I think 2 seconds. I mean, I think that the athletic director and myself, and I think General Service, who maintains a lot of the structures there, is we're just waiting for the action on how do we proceed with the master plan and what version of what that looks like. 'Cause that's going to be the driving, the next 5 or 10 years, that's going to be the driving vision of the improvements we make there.
When you say master plan, Mr. Gill, you're referring to the master plan for
For the city.
Memorial Field.
Yes,
Not
Memorial
the
Field
city.
Complex.
Okay.
Memorial Field Complex, sorry.
Right, I want to clarify that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Follow up?
Thank you, because I do see that this is not even a question. The success of this project, it has to be a collective effort.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I don't know today or when a plan should be put in place going forward. And it's not a set and dry plan, but at least it will help us guide our work. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I was going to wait till the end. Thank you, Your Honor. Not a question, comment. So the joint ad hoc committee between the school and the city is meeting on April 29th at 5 p.m. at the Community Center, so we can ferret out some of these questions that are being asked. So I'm not sure any of the committee members have all of the answers, nor does anyone else, but the reason why we're going to reconvene is to have a better understanding what's palatable at this point.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah. You said at 5 p.m.
Yes, I'm sorry, you might have already said this and I didn't catch it. The bleachers need to be roped off immediately, or are they good for a couple of months?
They've been roped off since
they're
last
already
November.
roped off. Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Mr. Gill?
Thank you.
Supposedly?
Thank you.
Ms. Wilbur?
Hey, you didn't get to do anything? How are you?
Thank you. All right, I'll now open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to testify on item 38A?
Jeff, you said at 5? Meeting at 5?
Mr. Schweiker? Welcome.
Thank you, mayors, members of the city council, city manager, city clerk. I'm Roy Schweiker, and I'd like to pass on something that perhaps you know, and that is that the school board has instructed the athletic director and the city parks director to issue a report on May 31st regarding what the first phase of Memorial Field should be in their opinion. And my guess would be perhaps this should be included as part of it, because, you know, yes, maybe costs will go up in a month and possibly some unfortunate individual will be injured in a month, but compared to other issues in the city, I don't see it as that critical. I am kind of unhappy about this single source bidding whereby every now and then you pick some company and then you give them the award. I would think for something as big as $300,000, instead of just giving it to some particular pre-selected contractor, you might put the whole thing out for bids. And the real thing I would like to say is that before we tear this down, we really need to get the school board's opinion on it. Not necessarily their money, because if this is a hazard and we can't come to an agreement, then maybe it has to be removed even if they say no, but merely as to what's really going to happen next. My particular feeling is, as far as the city goes, these bleachers are not a need. They're not even really a want. We could do fine without them permanently. It's really the school that uses the bleachers. And their current plan for phase 1 of Memorial Field is essentially only build things important to the school and nothing important to the city, and still expect the city to pay half of it. And I don't think that's quite fair. In particular, the folks from the northern part of the city who have Merrimack Valley District taxes that they pay, and then they're paying again through city taxes to fix things for the Concord School District. It's my impression we need to, instead of saying we'll split this 50-50, we need to look at who is benefiting from this and make them pay the cost of it. And it sounds to me like this plan that the school is proposing for Memorial Field is only stuff that's valuable for the school. I don't think the public at large is going to benefit that much from a lacrosse field, for instance. So this may, come as a nasty, thing to them when they hear this, but I really think that's legitimate, that if you want things that are basically only for the school, you should be paying for it out of school taxes. And they're good at that. They'll find a way to do it. It'll cost me more than if the whole city paid for it, but that's fair. We shouldn't be having to have the poor folks up north pay for their own stuff and then pay again at Memorial Field. So I would like to suggest that you table this. You ask Mr. Gill as part of his discussions is what the school district really wants to tear these down, or are they going to come up with some plan and maybe they get repaired? Or, once again, if they decide to tear them down, I think this is getting to be large enough that we need to bid it out and not just, let some pre-selected contractor do it. I know the school board thinks $157 million is not enough to bother bidding it out. We'll just pre-select somebody, but I hope you people are a little bit smarter. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Schweiker?
I wholeheartedly agree with you as relative to public bidding process. I think Councilor Saku brought it up, and I'm a huge proponent of having low bids or finding the lowest qualified bidder. So point taken for me. Thank you.
Council Secretary.
That's what I want to say. So thank you. Point taken. My question, I do have a question for you, and it has nothing to do with the budget. It has to do with Concord as a city. When you were talking about we don't benefit from nothing when we invest in that, what do you mean by that?
In other words, Memorial Field has a variety of uses. Originally, the city was paying most of the cost of it, but the school board is becoming more and more specialized, some portion of it, only for the schools. And I know originally the one set of bleachers was built because we were going to have the Quarry Dogs, which were a semi-professional baseball team. I don't know if you remember that or not. And then they were having the Babe Ruth World Series here, and they need to upgrade the bleachers for that. And neither of those were anything that were affected by the school. So it was reasonable for the city to upgrade the bleachers for those two purposes, because those are city purposes and not school purposes. But I haven't heard anything about the Quarry Dogs are likely to come back anytime soon. I haven't heard that we're going to have any more Babe Ruth World Series, and so realistically, the city doesn't need those bleachers. You can sit on the grass, look at the fireworks. And the same thing about this finely tuned lacrosse field. You know, they probably would prefer that no public member of the public ever gets on it and ruins the surface. So, in a way, you know, that's their space, it's not ours, and why are we paying half of it?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Schweiker. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Welcome.
Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for hearing us. I appreciate it. I'd like to thank you first for your time serving. I think that Tracy and I understand what this does and what this means for everyone, so thank you so much for serving. My name is Jessica Wheeler-Russell, and I'm a resident of Pennacook, where I've been raising my family for the past 9 years. I'm also a homeowner and have served on the Merrimack Valley School Board for the last 6 years. This evening, I'm here, though, speaking as a private citizen, not on behalf of our board. And to be clear, MVSD is not involved with this effort. If you folks would like to introduce yourselves.
My name is Tracy Bricky. I am the New Hampshire House of Representatives representative for Merrimack County, District 15, Pennacook. I also serve on the school board. I am chair of the Merrimack Valley School District School Board. And again, not here as the school board, not here representing the school board, but I thought it was something that you should know.
And my name is Devin Broderick. I'm here as a resident of Pennacook.
We're here to share a community petition that now has over 500 signatures that relates to the entire project this agenda item is associated with, which is the Memorial Field renovations. This petition has come forward after thoughtful conversations amongst my neighbors in Pennacook and some in Concord who care deeply about our city and want to be part of constructive, forward-looking solutions. If you would like to go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Jess. So as I stated, my name is Devin Roderick, and the following represents my own personal opinion as a resident of Pennacook. Our petition, which we had sent to the city clerk's email, and I have a copy of here today, calls for the fair treatment of Merrimack Valley School District taxpayers in Concord in regards to CIP 557. I would like to make it abundantly clear that we do not oppose safe athletic facilities for the youth in our community. In fact, over the years, residents of Wards 1 and 2 in Pennacook have strived to provide reasonable athletic facilities at our schools in Pennacook. We have paid our dues through property taxes to build, maintain, and resurface our own athletic facilities. We have not delayed for decades on paying for our own athletic facilities, hoping that the city of Concord will provide those for us. Merrimack Valley School District pays $182,000 per year for the upkeep of our own facilities, while also contributing toward Memorial Field upkeep every year through the city portion of our taxes. According to a recent March 27th Concord Monitor article, When Rolfe Park, for example, and this is comparative to Memorial Field, when Rolfe Park's track was resurfaced, it was fully funded by the Merrimack Valley School District, despite the facility's nearly 50-50 split between city-owned and school-owned land. I want to summarize that again. We paid 100% of the cost to resurface our track, half of which is located on city-owned land. That is a clear precedent that we firmly believe should be applied to Memorial Field under Capital Improvement Plan 557, which this item is a part of. Therefore, our petition, as Jess had said, is now signed by nearly 550 people, calls upon the mayor and the city council to require that the Concord School District pay the full cost for all improvements to the athletic facilities and parking at the Memorial Field complex as part of Capital Improvement Plan 557. Thus, the taxpayers of Merrimack Valley School District are treated fairly and equitably. I have a copy of that petition here, which I'll pass around. At the very top, it does provide a breakdown of demographics to be as transparent as possible. As of the 10th of April, we had 542 signatures. I believe it's now up to 547. About 76% of those signatures, or 410 of them, were from Pennacook and Concord residents. Another 6%, or 32 people, were from other towns in the Merrimack Valley School District. Now, one reason I want to point that out is because you may not be a property tax-paying resident of Pennacook, but you may own businesses in Pennacook, and you have a vested interest in the outcome of this decision. So I'll send that around to you.
Just to be clear.
Mr. Audrey, the city clerk has circulated.
You did?
Just,
Great.
just to be
Thank
clear,
you.
when I
Thank you.
sent it to the city clerk yesterday, I sent it to every city council member.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to make sure. And I'm almost done here. So one more I want to make, and one thing I want to clarify, something that's been circling around. In December of 2025, the City Parks and Recs Department, David Gill, put together a usage report for Memorial Field. The report shows that Concord School District used Memorial Field athletic facilities 53% or 53.7% of the permitted time during calendar year 25. It has been confirmed with Concord Parks and Rec that this permitted time usage does not include Concord PE classes or parking by students and staff throughout the school year. Therefore, this number does not include all actual use by Concord School District. It is worth noting when you look at that report that Concord School District's use of the football field is 88%. Their use of the soccer and lacrosse field is 83%. And regarding the football field, when it is used, it is noted that when the track is used, the field is closed. It's we thank you for your time and understanding as we seek fairness for all taxpayers in Concord. And off the cuff here, I do want to echo similar statements from Mr. Schweiker before us, the single source contracting. So is that a contract in and of itself? How does that work? Could you clarify that? The single source contracting, is that just your normal operating procedure, or is that the way your contract works?
Let's finish,
Okay.
and then we can
All right, fair
hopefully
enough.
get an answer. So,
Fair enough.
I promise this will be over shortly. Now that Devin has shared some numbers, I also would like to share why I felt it was important to add my name to this and grounded in the data that many residents across the state are experiencing. Because Concord includes 2 school districts, there are structural differences in tax impact that show up clearly over time. Looking over the past 5 years, for a home valued at $400,000, Pennacook residents have consistently paid more in total property taxes than residents in the Concord School District. While the gap fluctuates year to year, the trend is consistent. Pennacook residents carry a higher overall tax burden, largely due to the differences in school district tax rates. Looking ahead at the next year, now everything I'm saying is an estimate, so please estimate, looking ahead, with the recent Merrimack Valley School District annual meeting budget and contract approvals totaling roughly about $52 million for our entire school district. A home worth $400,000 in Pennacook is projected to see an increase of over $1,300 in our tax rate, whereas a comparable home in the Concord School District is estimated to see an increase of approximately $700 to $750, according to a Concord Monitor article for a $124 million budget. I'm sure my peers across the state who served on school boards understand why such a discrepancy with the way the state downshifts costs to all of us, and it causes these inequities between our 2 districts. And I'm asking the council to please be aware of that as they move forward through this process. With that context, it is important to carefully consider how we approach additional capital investments, as the city has already obligated a number of significant projects to their tax base, including improvements to Beaver Meadow Golf Course, moving forward with the police station, and other capital initiatives. At the same time, I want to acknowledge something that has been raised in opposition to this petition, which is the idea that then we should have less investment in Pennacook or fewer city-supported projects in our community. That's not the goal here, and it's not the goal for us to shut down this project. I want my peers, their children, to have fantastic athletic facilities, just like we've maintained ours over time. But the conversation is not about one part of city versus the other. It's about how we as one city make decisions that care for all of our communities in a way that is balanced, sustainable, and fair. So with that in mind, I would offer a few guiding principles for consideration as you move forward. Thoughtful and balanced cost sharing, ensuring investments feel fair and reflect how our community uses and benefits with them. Equity across all neighborhoods, and connecting investment to community use. And more broadly, I think this is also an opportunity to continue reflecting on how the current structure of having 2 school districts within one city impacts long-term planning, investment decisions, and overall equity for residents. Sometimes the solutions might be a little bit crazier than we think. In a city like ours, those structural considerations matter because they shape not just individual projects, but the cumulative experience of taxpayers over time. Thank you very much, and unless Tracy has anything to add.
Don't think so. I can't imagine that there's anything left to say.
Sorry.
Could I just clarify one thing? The city portion of the tax rate for residents who live in the Merrimack Valley School District, who live within the Concord City boundaries, is that the same as the rest of the city?
Yes, because we are all one city, but we have 2 school districts.
So
And
there's-
unfortunately, sorry, go ahead, I
Yeah, the
apologize.
discrepancy is in the school district.
Yes, I'm sorry if I did not make that clear. That is the school tax,
Thank you.
because, as I stated before, the unfortunate inequities of the state calculation for tax rates and downshifting of costs hits those of us who live in property-poor cities and towns harder than those who do not.
Thank you. Representative Bricky, did you have a statement that you needed to make?
No, thank you.
All right, Councilor Keach.
Thank you, Your Honor. This goes to anyone at the table, and I'll be careful not to ask you to speak as representatives of the board. But as you speak to the residents in Pennacook, is there any consideration or discussion about bringing Pennacook back to the Concord School District? And
No.
Actually, yes. It's a 50-50 shot, and I know that that's a big question. Please, feel free to talk about what you said, and then.
No, that's why it's a 50-50 shot. The people that I've spoken to, no, absolutely not. They do not want to bring Pennacook into the Concord School District.
I think the larger question that you're asking is one that it's divisive, right? Like MV has been MV since the 60s. 67. And I'm not going to say that it's necessarily a bad idea to look at every option, and that is mostly what I hear from folks in Pennacook who have an interest in this. It's not necessarily that they're like gung-ho on it, it's that the idea might be valuable. But I think that is a larger question, maybe not related to this topic right now, that honestly I would like to see our voters bring to the boards, because what you're talking about would involve a lot of studies, communication, and then depending on some of the legislation that is happening at the state level right now, it might be easier for different towns to break off. So I would suggest anyone who is interested in that you should bring that to your, in the case of MB, that would be our annual meeting. For Concord, I believe that would be a ballot vote, would be my guess, but that's not my district, so I can't answer for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Kretovic.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that forward, the consideration of a singular school district, because as you know, Ward 3 is basically the gray line between the two, and every student at Beaver Meadow is bused all the way across the city to go to the middle school once they get into 5th grade, and then across to the high school when they get into 9th grade. And it has been a long struggle for this part of the city. So I do appreciate that there is at least a consideration that we could move to a collective community that's looking at economies of scale and it's put in the perspective of what's happening at the state level, because I do think that both of our school districts are going to be highly desirable if there were an open enrollment process, that we could all benefit from that, we as a community as well, especially for the families that there are some 90,000 people that this population grows to Monday through Friday. I think that it's a great conversation to have. I do also want to appreciate that what the perspective you're bringing to the table with regards to Merrimack Valley School District, that you made the investment in the tracks that are over, or all athletics fields, not just the track that is shared with the city, because it really demonstrates what we have been trying for over 10 years to reiterate to the Concord School District. When we talk about the disrepair of that facility, it also comes with members of this council saying, but our residents don't use it. The school district does. I also want to take grace in the fact that we have a school board now that is actually listening and coming to the table to have this conversation, where in years past we basically got shooed away. And so I do think that the respectful conversation that we're having between the school districts, between our community, I think that that's an important leadership role that we all take at the table. So thank you so much for bringing these things forward and keeping it front and center on what is important in our community. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Council Foote.
Thank you, Your Honor. Quick question. What percentage of Merrimack Valley School District children actually live in Concord or Pennacook versus the other towns? Was it Loudon, Boscawen, Webster, Salisbury, Andover? Are there other towns?
Andover, the students are tuitioned in.
Oh, they are.
Webster.
We are the majority. So we have, let's see, off the top of my head, percentage-wise, I believe we have about a little bit over a third. The next largest one would be Boscawen, then Loudon, then Boscawen, and our two small schools are very, very small. So that does mean that when it comes to our portion to our own school district, we pay more. And if you actually, in the Concord Monitor, there was an article about property tax differences between towns, and they actually used one of our towns, which was Webster, as an example. Like for the same tax estimate that I said for MV residents, for Pennacook residents, the $1,300, they're expected to pay like $20 more a year because of the way the equation works. So we, in Pennacook, shoulder most of the district cost overall.
So you said...
Follow up.
Thank you. You said it was a majority, then did you just say it's about 37% of the Merrimack Valley school children live in Pennacook or Concord?
Yeah, so, okay, I can give you the numbers. Well, I can't give you the full numbers because this doesn't break down by town at the high school level, but the answer is we are the majority, and yes, that does mean it's maybe a third to, like 35, no, sorry, a third to like 40%, right, depending, because I don't have the numbers on me right now, but that also means that the other towns are less than that. Like, I'm not really sure why us paying maybe like the 30 to 40% of the school district would be a minority, because we have 5 of us, 5 towns, so.
Councilor Caleb.
Yes, so just to clarify, so MV has its own athletic facilities that you maintain. Do MV students ever use Memorial Field?
Okay, that is no. The answer to that is no, we do not. We were, when I was speaking to some folks who've been here longer than me, there was a situation where we were supposed to be able to use it, but we've never had the chance, and so they just don't, and we have our own fields now at this point.
Quick follow-up. What about other City of Concord facilities? Do MV students use those, like parks or pools?
So, well, obviously, we don't have a swim team. Our golf team does not use Beaver Meadow because we were told we couldn't. So they actually go to Loudon. We use Rolfs Park. It would be the most. It would be the only facility that I know of, having spoken to our athletics director and our superintendent. We don't use Everett Arena, no, because they go down to Hooksett.
They go to,
Um,
hockey team goes to.
and then our fishing team just goes out in the back.
Our fishing team does use the Merrimack River.
Yes. But realistically, the facility that we really only use is Rolfs Park, which is roughly about 2 hours a day from mid to late April to early to mid-June.
Yes.
And then as well, equivalent in the fall, like September to
And our,
October, November.
and we do have younger students who play, we have a football, feeder program, but they use the Merrimack Valley fields.
Okay, thank you.
To summarize what Jess just said, our use of Rolfe Park does not represent a majority of the permitted use of Rolfe Park, whereas Concord School District uses a majority of the time at Memorial Field.
Yeah, and it's also less than what the report would be now, I believe, because unfortunately, due to some constraints within our budget last year, we also had to go through very similar actions that my peers are now in Concord, and we had to cut our B sports teams. So we also stopped using some facilities with that as well.
Councilor Brown.
Yes, I'm really interested in how you maintain your facilities. So do you have like a capital improvement program? Like how,
Yes.
who runs that, who oversees that? I mean, because that's impressive.
I chair facilities. Do you want to answer?
Nope,
Because you
you
chair,
chair.
but
chair
so I chair facilities. This is my purview. There is a longstanding capital improvement plan that goes, I want to say about 15 years in the future. And our facilities director, who is retiring, unfortunately, but we have a person who's coming in behind him who'll be just as good.
Yes.
He projects what he would like to see done in the next year, and then obviously these plans can change depending on grant funding, depending on the budget vote didn't go the way that we expected or something like that. So it is constantly changing, but we do have a long-standing plan that goes at least a decade in the future.
Follow up?
Did you ever have to delay something for 10 years?
No, not that I know of. Tracy could probably speak better to this for me, but as I understand it, far before my time, the facilities was in a state that was not necessarily, I'd say, conducive to an athletics team, or athletic team's use. So the district slowly over time invested piece by piece rather than large projects at a time, just because our tax basis looks a little different. But over time would piecemeal projects together to invest and improve upon them. And now we have facilities that we're very proud of that he spent and the district spent a very long time working on.
Councilor Todd.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to thank all three of you for your efforts on this and also for your service to the community as well. Great discussion here tonight on the school districts. We can talk about that for a long time. We're not going to be able to decide anything here tonight. I want to get us back to one of the main reasons why you're here, I think. So and what you said about the thoughtful consideration when it comes to cost sharing on this moving forward. So I think we heard Councilor Foote say that there was going to be another meeting coming up in April. I think we've all probably read the various stories that have come out in the papers and so forth, that the Concord School District is also reconsidering the scope of this project going forward. When this project was presented to this body in November, I specifically asked, and I believe Councilor Foote also asked, to go back and take another look at it and kind of retool the project so that we could minimize potential tax impacts to residents on this. So I think, what I'm saying is, I think there's going to be further discussion about this going forward. There's going to be other opportunities for you and others to get involved. I would say, depending on what the phasing is of the project, I think that there are going to need to be many more discussions about what the splits of costs are going to be. So, for example, if phase one includes the football field, as Mr. Roderick pointed out, that's utilized 88% of the time. So what would be a fair accommodation on a split on that portion if that was the main focus? So it may come down to the fact that we have a very complicated figure in the end, trying to calculate this, but I think we can probably come to something. And would you all be willing to continue to have those kind of discussions moving forward to come up with that fair balance that you suggested?
So, thank you, Councilor Todd. I'm Ward 1 in Pennacook. The petition calls for the city to assume full responsibility for the project. However, I believe the signers are ultimately looking to their elected officials to thoughtfully evaluate the situation and determine a fair and balanced funding approach. Our petition is clear that we want Concord School District to pay 100% for their athletic facilities, just as we have in Merrimack Valley School District.
If I might touch a little bit on this, I believe you have to understand the spirit of the petition and what Pennacook residents and those in Concord, because this is not just Pennacook residents. Concord residents have also spoken to me about this, and they understand the inequities, right? And so I think what we're doing is putting trust in our elected body to come up with a solution, which is how I would hope people would approach us when they came to us with an issue. So as far as moving forward, I am happy to attend meetings and the like. The April 29th one is my son's 12th birthday, so sorry I can't be there. However, I am very, very happy to meet, as I have met and spoken with some folks individually here, to discuss and also attend meetings like that. Just unfortunately can't do that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council Fennessy.
Thank you. I just had a question based on the petition suggesting that the school district should pay 100%. If the school district were to pay 100%, do you think it would be appropriate to prohibit Pennacook residents from utilizing Memorial Field?
We already can't, so like.
And can you confirm for me that currently Concord School District students are utilizing our fields?
No, my question is, do you think it would be appropriate for the school district to prohibit? Are you suggesting that Pennacook residents aren't allowed to use Memorial Field?
May I? So actually, what I would suggest is something community-minded, right? And I will use the current situation, which is, again, going back to what I said, that I don't think that those of us in Pennacook who pay MV taxes want to have Concord School District without fields or facilities and want to turn this into some kind of tug of war pitting us against each other. I will suggest that when the issues that have occurred recently, as in the school district cannot use your track, and that's terrible for them. MV is allowing them to use our track free of charge because it's a need that they have. And that's more of what I would like to see, right? We live together, we play together, hopefully. Some of us work together. And that, no, I'm not suggesting that we be blanket denied use of anything Concord School District uses. That's not what this means. I would like to see more of that kind of community mindset is what I'm asking for. And I believe what most folks here would be asking for in this petition.
And the track that MV utilizes, that's on 50% city land, isn't it?
It's our track. I mean, yeah, it's part of it's on land, on the city land, yes, but it's our track. We've been paying for it the whole time, and as well as other fields. And I will say that I'm trying to think of even an equivalent school district in the state situation that we're in, and I don't think there is one. I don't think there's any other city that has the unique situation that we do off the top of my head. So it means we're kind of paving the way here, guys. And, you know, it might sound almost vindictive to be asked that question. I don't think that question was vindictive. I think it's going to go back to what I said before about having a community mindset, but also understanding that we are being placed in these positions due to some serious inequities at the state level that really need to get changed. However, we as elected officials here, again, I am as a private citizen, but just speaking peer to peer, we have to balance that, right? We have to work within those bounds. And sometimes that means having these difficult conversations with each other that could turn divisive. And so I do thank you for your question, but, you know, I almost feel like it was a straw man question, and that's all I would have to say about it.
Guys, follow up.
Follow up.
Thank you. I know you're focused on the, 53% that the school district use it, but would you agree that there's plenty of community youth groups that use it besides that include members of Pennacook and Concord and probably other places too?
I suppose there are. There's also plenty of community use at our facilities too. Our community uses the track free of charge. We have people who run on it. We have people who use our fields as well. They might not be city-sponsored programming, but folks are welcome to come into our grounds to use those kinds of things without, a charge at the door or this kind of gatekeeping. So I'm not really sure what you're kind of asking me really, except just that, yeah, they can, but we also do the same thing. So like, this is the kind of nitty gritty, like back and forth tug of war that I was hoping it wouldn't come down to. But I think I respect the line of questioning. I just don't think it's very helpful right now.
Let me say that I think it's refreshing to me to hear that there is some conversation about bringing the Pennacook portion of the city back into one school district, because I agree with you that it's incredibly unusual situation, which when I was doing corporate philanthropy for a large national corporation, continuously having to explain that a city of 45,000 people had 2 school districts. But I also speak to your point. This has really created a balkanization of Concord. And it has created, as you, in your words, kind of discord, and it's not healthy for the city when portions of the city feel that they're being treated inequitably or that they're lesser persons than the other part of the city, when we're all one community with one common goal, which is the success of the community. And I think that's been shown by both the school traditions in the northern part of the city, but also the investment that the rest of the community as a whole has made in each other. Whether it's the tannery site rehab, or whether it's moving to do development on the heights, we're all part of one community except for this one portion. To my mind, it's a wall that needs to be broken down. Pennacook needs to come back into the same school district so that we can all have one collective vision for the city and feel we're all part of one family. Because Pennacook is a beloved part of the Concord family, as I hope the Concord, and I even feel funny saying that because, I grew up in a village of 2,000 people in a larger town, and my identity is certainly with my village. But, we're a city, and we all need to have a sense of of collective identity as members of the Concord community. So thank you for saying that.
I would also say, and I appreciate the kind words there and the vision forward, but I would say what Jess alluded to earlier is that Pennacook is also a beloved part of Merrimack Valley School District, which includes 4 other towns. So from my perspective as a resident of Pennacook, any discussion along those lines would, as Jess said earlier, would have to come from an annual meeting. Mm-hmm. And I personally want to hear what those other towns feel like about it, because otherwise they'd be without a middle school and high school, presumably.
Yeah, we have all the facilities.
So,
yeah. But they're based on what I'm hearing too, it also sounds like they would lose the cash cow.
I have to say, and I have lived, I am 66 years old, and I have lived in Concord my whole life. I have lived in Pennacook for the past 35 years. So more years in Pennacook than in the other parts of Concord. Pennacook has always felt like they are lesser. It's just part of what they have felt. So I can say in all honesty that there's a large number of people in Pennacook who do not want the school district to become part of the Concord School District. I think that it would be, I agree that it needs to go to the people. I'm wondering if, as we were sitting here, if the reason is Jessica is much younger than I, and she has a much younger.
That crossed my mind.
She has a much younger fan base than I do, and I think that it would be interesting to see exactly what happened.
Yeah. Well, I for one am very fond of Pennacook.
Me too.
Me too.
Councilor Brown.
Yes, I would just like to say thank you for allowing Concord school students to use your track, because I know the track program is big. So that is huge, and I really appreciate that your good planning is enabling our kids to access the track. And I've used that track before, and it's fantastic. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for that, and I really appreciate your words of thoughtful cost sharing and connecting investment to community use. And Your Honor, I appreciate your comments as well. I think one community together is a powerful message that we should embrace.
And we did just have to replace the track.
We did. I was going to add that I don't think you're the lesser, I think you're the more. And I say that in all honesty, having lived in Concord over 35 years now, that when we consolidated our elementary schools, we lost something. We lost that little bit of sense of community in some areas of our city that was really important to the growth of our kids. And I do think that one of the real benefits of a combined school district is that if a child is going to Runlet and feels consumed by the volume of population that is there, they could be at Merrimack Valley, where there is that still small sense of community, that they came from these smaller elementary schools. And the same is true for the high schools. And we all know it because we are constantly talking about kids with special education needs that are autistic or on the spectrum, that are neurotypical, that we need to support in better ways than just thinking about that the bigger school district is the better. I'm going to tell you the smaller school districts are the better. You are more, you are not less.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilor Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would it be, when you hear that we have an ad hoc committee that is working with the Concord School District, knowing that you're really here to talk about the Memorial Field and the other things we can also continue to discuss, would you like to see some formal arrangement where we work with the Merrimack Valley School District folks with that portion of Pennacook in a similar way to maybe address the inequity of, I don't know if inequity is the right way, to similarly collaborate on ways for the city and that for the Merrimack Valley School District to also cooperate on these sorts of things?
So we do have a joint committee that meets of the Merrimack Valley School Board and Concord School District Board that meets together a couple of times a year. Maybe we need to meet more often.
With the city.
With the city, and we meet with the city. Yes, the two school boards meet together with the city.
Having a joint ad hoc would involve us bringing this back to our board and talking about it, because that's how it works. So like, for us, it's a little bit more of an involved process. I would not necessarily be opposed to anything like that. I'm also attempting to get off the ground a Safe Routes to School committee in my own, in MV. This is the first time the SAU is hearing about it, so welcome. But you know, even having some city folks on that might be beneficial, because as you know, unrelated to this, we've had some pedestrian issues over there, and you know, so there's always opportunity. I think it's more of it's challenging on our end because I'm keeping up with 5 towns. You know, I know Webster's attempting to move their salt shack. You know what I mean? Like that, like, so sometimes it takes a lot of my time, but I'm sure that there are folks who would love to have communications like that.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Well, thank you all. Oh,
I don't have a question. I just have a comment for Councilor Schultz. On the Park and Rec Committee, the AD of Merrimack Valley is one of the members.
Good, thank you.
Just one quick last comment on the spirit of collaboration that you had mentioned a moment ago. I don't know all the details yet on the history of that project of the track and field redo that was paid for by Merrimack Valley, but it seems to me that that was not a good deal for Pennacook residents either. Why should Merrimack Valley have foot the entire bill for that track when half of it is on Concord property? So my suggestion is, you know, try not to let that happen again, because that's we're here to kind of work on those kinds of projects together, as we did recently on the sidewalk improvements, for example, on Allen Street and Community Drive intersection and so forth. So, yeah, I mean, we certainly want to try to continue that precedent. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aside from the petition, just really quickly, aside from the petition I had mentioned earlier, just want to clarify for those listening from home, the $385,000 figure, is there something that governing the city council or the city government to get more than one estimate or more than one proposal for a contract?
No, that was his question.
Do you want to speak to? Yeah. Yeah.
We're answering question, okay. So that is a standard procedure of what we do. If the city council wants to go out and do a request for proposal for this, it will take a lot of time to do that, and we can get the estimate, but what we do is we hire a contractor in advance to do that for us. And they go out and they try to, knowing what the prices are out there, they try to negotiate the best prices for us. That's the way it works. And that's the way it's worked for how many years, Jeff?
This last RFP was done in FY '23.
23, so 3 or 4 years, this one, and we had done it previously. So this is the way we've always done things. There's nothing special with this one.
I understand that. So the general
Devin,
contractor acts as a middle.
We usually don't get into a back and forth with people who testify. I was trying to,
Fair enough.
but thank you.
Thank you.
Trying to get you an answer, so.
But if the council does want to go out for a proposal, we'll just put it off and whatever you like.
All right. Anyone else like to testify? Declare the public hearing closed. Madam City Clerk, you got something? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Did not see you.
Reopened?
All right, come on.
Appreciate it. Steve Largy, Athletic Director, Concord High School. I'd like to thank David for taking the lead on this. And I wanted to be able to speak up and confirm that we have been working together on this and that he has my full support. I took a big sigh of relief on October 31st at the end of our last home football game, knowing that the liability of those bleachers and the fact that they did not fall down and with our student section standing on them was not going to be something that I would have to worry about for the rest of the year. The fact that he took upon himself to get those inspected, much like we did with the track. My most important objective is the safety of our student athletes. And that's something I take very seriously, and we have to. And the second thing is the mitigation of risk. So getting back to the bleachers, they've got to go. They are only risk at this point in time, and only unsafe. Whether we decide to fence them, there is no benefit that they are providing to our school district or to our city at this point in time. So be happy to take any questions you might have, but wanted to just say thanks to the city. Thanks for working with us. I know I'm not speaking for the school board, but I think they want to, empower me and David to work together on this project.
Councilor Brown.
Yes, can you tell me how many track students are using the Merrimack Valley track?
Yeah, currently right now, we have 120 student athletes that are enrolled that are registered for track. So not all of them get bused every single Friday. So they're using it one day a week. Kenny Edwards has been extremely generous with us and allowing that to happen. We try to repay the favor when we can. We had a freshman football game that they needed use of the field, and so we were able to do that earlier this year. So we do work together when we can, but we're very grateful to be able to do that.
Follow.
Are you involved in the facilities committee that is kind of projecting maintenance? I know you're relatively new, right? So
Yeah, second year.
Have you looked at that, and how far out does that plan go? Have you made any recommendations for what projects need to be done? I mean, because it can't all be done at once.
No, I think, so right now, we're still in the early stages of what this is going to look like. And the school district, the school board has made a financial commitment for permitting and design. And I think that is that one gesture of good faith, and also first step. The bleachers would be the first step, maybe the next step that we need to take in this project. And I think that involves the city players, myself, David, working together, coming up with what that plan should look like. And I've been tasked by the school board with that May 31st date of having a plan moving forward, because we have to give our kids someplace to play. And right now, we don't have that. We don't have adequate facilities for a Division I high school program. I'm not so sure that we have adequate facilities for a high school program. We can't host competitive track meets, so on and so forth.
So I'm trying to understand. So the future of the facilities, that is hinging on this Memorial Field complex happening.
That is the bulk of, where we play. Our facilities is Memorial Field. Okay. And so even though it was a great sigh of relief I had on October 31st, Halloween night, it also came with a great challenge, because now we have to figure out where are we going to play. If we're shutting down Runlet and Memorial Field at the same time, and we still want to be able to offer the offerings that we've been able to at Concord High School, we have to find a place for kids to play. And this is a big challenge. It's something that we need to do. It just, if we could wave a magic wand and save the bleachers, then great. But that's not going to happen. So we've got to take that first step and then continue to work our way out of this problem.
Sorry, last
follow-up.
Yes. Besides Merrimack Valley, I know that there are other, I think Concord Christian has fields off Clinton Street, and Trinity Christian School is right there on the other side of the fence. Are you engaging with any other schools in the area to use their fields?
Yeah, we've reached out to everybody, and we've got great neighbors. So it's been collaborative. There are times where we use St. Paul's. They have programs that are going on simultaneously with us, so that doesn't work all the time, and we understand that. And even for Merrimack Valley, they're allowed use of the track. They could give it to us one day a week, which is more than fair, and we're extremely grateful to have that. Pembroke National Guard facility, which is a beautiful facility, turf field, quarter-mile track. It's not marked, so it's not an ideal practice facility, but it allows our 120 track kids the opportunity to practice on a track, which we've only maybe had 3 or 4 practices, and our first meet is tomorrow at Bedford. So it's unfair to be putting our kids in a position where they don't have the facilities to be able to practice and train, and then have the expectation that you're going to go out and compete against some of the top teams in the state.
Thank you.
Councilor Todd.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thanks for your comments here tonight. I wanted to ask a question. Would it be safe to say that at this point in time, in your estimation, the condition and the ability to use all the fields and find space has not necessarily affected students' abilities to get sports scholarships to college, or are we close to that point yet?
It's really hard to say. I think one of the considerations that you have to have, one of the draws for a student coming into a district or retaining that student athlete in a district is the facilities that you offer. I mean, you see it all the time at the college level. The higher quality of the facilities, the more likely you are able to recruit and retain top talent. I think we're at a point where this is impacting the image of the program as a whole. We had student athletes and a fan section during a football game from another school, competing school, not going to say who, but I thought it was in great fun. Brought a large sign that said, "Welcome to the Swamp," right? And Memorial Field is affectionately known at this point, or not so affectionately known at this point, as the Swamp. To the point where when other school districts and other students of school districts around the state are aware of the challenges that we have at Memorial Field, I think that speaks to where we are right now. And so I think it is, we have tremendous gifted athletes that have gone on to, we have a track athlete at University of Georgia, and he came out for track his senior year. He had never thrown a javelin before until his senior year of high school, and he ended up breaking the state record that year. The facilities didn't create that, So you have those stories where kids can achieve great things in spite of where they are and what they're working with. So that's why we do sports. So kids can do that. And we will continue to do sports. I don't care where you give us to play. We're going to play. But it's my job to advocate for our kids to have the best facilities that we can possibly give them. And I just don't think that's where we are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck tomorrow.
Yeah. Would anyone else like to testify? All right, declare the public hearing closed. Madam City Clerk, item 38B.
It is a resolution appropriating the sum of $526,968 in the vehicle and equipment replacement project for the replacement of 2 dump trucks, accepting the sum of $421,574 in grant funding from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, and authorizing the issuance of general fund general obligation bonds and notes in the sum of $105,394.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager.
Your Honor, members of the council, the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services launched the Granite State Clean Fleets Program to assist municipalities in reducing transportation-related emissions. This program provides financial support for replacing aging diesel vehicles with cleaner, more efficient alternatives. The General Services Department has identified eligible opportunities. If the City Council it seeks City Council authorization to pursue funding for the 2 new dump trucks under this program to support the modernization of the municipal fleet and advance environmental and public health objectives. The city submitted the application after talking, and to replace the old fleet units that no longer meet current emission standards. These applications were approved by the Governor and Executive Council on January 28th. And to proceed, the project requires formal appropriation by the City Council. The associated grant funds will be reimbursed to the city upon completion. And I recommend approval.
Thank you. Any questions for the City Manager? Councilor Orn.
Where we have starting to consider our budget coming up in just a month, why is this not just put into the budget to make it easier to look at it all at one?
So, because you've already, in this upcoming budget, you have dollars for one of these vehicles. The other vehicle is, I think, 2 years forward, so it move it forward. So I didn't want to lose the 80% grant.
There's a time frame that it's going to be cut off this month?
Yes. No, I didn't say this month. There's a time frame for it to be cut off. If you don't want the grant and you don't want the clean vehicles, then vote no. If you want the clean vehicles and you want to save 80% of the cost of the vehicles, you vote yes.
That's not, can I follow up?
Follow up.
That's not what that wasn't the question. You're saying we wouldn't get the grant if we didn't vote this month as opposed to having it in the budget and voting with it next month?
You want to vote, you want to delay it a month?
No, I'm just asking an answer to that question, why we have to do it this month and not part of the budget.
Mr. Holt?
Councilor Corn, could I ask you to move your microphone a little closer?
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, councilors. Now, the short answer to the question is that we are under a time crunch. This project has to be done before December. If we wait one more month and we don't even do a purchase order for the contractor, there's a likelihood that we won't be able to get done in time.
Okay, thank you.
So I suggest you accept the dollars and the grant funds that we so hardly work for.
Okay, any other questions? Councilor Phillips.
Just a comment, excellent work. I know it's a difficult grant to obtain, and you pulled it off, and it's good for the city.
Thank you.
And the taxpayers. Nice work.
Okay, Councilor.
Yes, so you said that we have to accept this, before December?
We have to appropriate the money. Then once the project's done, we'll be reimbursed $421,000. So basically, it's going to cost about $105,000 for 2 trucks.
That's great.
I'm sorry, this is Jim Bell. He's our fleet manager.
So the timeline on getting this, it's not like we can walk into Grapponi and pick up a pickup truck. We have to order, it's an 12-week timeline on ordering the truck, and then we have to have the bodies installed on top of it. So at this point now, December's tight.
Okay, thank you. That was really helpful.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Is there anyone in the audience who would like to testify on this? Seeing none, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Madam City Clerk, item 38C.
It is a resolution appropriating the sum of $5,000 in Community Development Miscellaneous Grants and Donations Project for tree planting on city property within public rights-of-way under the Sustainable Tree Program and authorizing a transfer in the sum of $5,000 from the Urban Tree Trust Fund for this purpose.
Mr. City Manager.
I recommend approval.
City Manager recommends approval. Any questions for the City Manager? Councilor Brown.
Yes. So we are part of the Tree City USA, is that correct? The report had said 29 years Tree City. So one of the qualifications for Tree City USA is you spend $2 per capita. So has the city spent $88,000 on trees in the last year?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, so then we're not a Tree City.
But I do recommend you accept them. I do recommend you accept the money to plant trees because trees are good for the health of the community.
Yes, I absolutely
don't
agree.
understand. Beth, would you like to come forward?
It's not even a question.
Sorry, just to answer that question, yes, we did meet the requirements for Tree City USA because it's about maintenance as well as the planting of trees. So paying for Ryan Rambo's salary and his tree crew counts as part of that dollar amount. So we're about $7 per resident when you do the calculation to the Tree City application.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from the council? All right. Would anyone in the audience like to testify? Mr. Deers. Have you heard any good music lately?
I have and plan to hear more.
Welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of this board, or this council, I am thrilled to be here in front of you this evening, and thank you for hearing a little report from your very own tree subcommittee. We are a subcommittee of the Conservation Commission, and my name is Ted Deers, and I am the now Chair Emeritus, which I'll get to in just a second. I'm joined here by Tom Daigle, who's our new chair. And other members of the committee include Craig Tufts, Zib Carell, Peter Broy, John Regan, Rick Corman, Steve Winnett, and Councilor Stacy Brown. We also have our person on the inside at Forest and Lands, and Liz McKinley, and we are ably staffed by Beth Fenstermacher, who's been fantastic. So actually, my evil reign has now ended. So I am no longer, it was a bloodless revolution in which the Young Turks have now taken over the tree subcommittees in very good hands with Chair Tom Daigle, and our vice chair is Craig Tufts, both well younger than I. So this is great. This is great news, and I will continue to be on the committee, but I will be sent out to pasture.
You're reviewing Ted's role.
Thank you. Exactly. Our trees are an amazing asset, as was pointed out. And this city is a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place because of the people. It's a beautiful place because of the buildings. It's a beautiful place because of the green infrastructure which surrounds us. That green infrastructure has been suffering. There are a lot of insults that happen to our trees. We have conflicts with utilities. We have an aging infrastructure. That is, those trees are aging as well as the rest of our infrastructure. And we also have issues with insects. Many of you may have seen me on TV talking about drought in my real job. And so we've had a lot of repetition of drought over the last 20 years, and that also has impacted, as the climate changes, the trees and what's able to survive in an urban setting. The average urban tree lasts about 20 to 30 years. That's it. And so we're going to be on a replacement cycle that has to be much better. And most of the time when a tree comes down along the city in right-of-way, it's probably not going to go back in the same place. And the reason is because all those things I just mentioned, all of the insults that happen to trees in our city. So we're going to be really looking for and striving for new solutions to be able to make sure that we maintain the trees that we have. So the theme this year for the subcommittee is really going to be to continue to do the good things that we already do and do them better. And so we're not going to be striving towards any really seriously new initiatives, although there is one that I want to talk about a little bit at the end. The Sustainable Tree Program has been going for many years, and over 86 residents have availed themselves of that program, and it's well over 100 trees now that have been planted in the Sustainable Tree Program. The program is now fully subscribed. It was not that way 7 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't know, whenever I came into this nonsense. And so it is now fully subscribed. So we have a waiting list now for people who want to get trees. These are trees that go in the city's right-of-way. So these are to benefit the entire community, not just that homeowner, although that homeowner essentially takes responsibility for that tree. None of this would be even possible without Ryan Rambo and the amazing staff in General Services. They make this program happen, and they do an amazing job. And it's really the funds that you're talking about tonight are what makes that program successful, because we provide scholarships to those who need them. We also have been, over the years, I've come here and talked about their street improvement program, where when an area is getting paved in the city, where we've been talking ahead of time and trying to then convince residents that they might like to plant a tree. And that's been less than successful. We have not really been able to have those kinds of conversations as we've wanted them. And it's really because I think when people really want to get a tree, they're going to do it in their own time and not in the time in which the paving is going on. And so I think we're going to kind of back out on that, except that we're going to continue to discuss with the city about how to integrate trees into its infrastructure projects. We've been doing a lot of outreach to the farmers market. We go to the farmers market in the fall and the spring. We're going to have a tree giveaway that we work with Merrimack County Conservation District. That's been very successful. And we do a lot of outreach, and we've got a lot of really good interest in trees because of that. I want to point you to the Tree Champion Award. The Tree Champion Award we started 2 years ago. Last year it went to Havenwood Heritage Heights. Had a great event on that. They're doing fantastic work up there. The nominations are now open for 2026, and please go to the chamber webpage or the tree webpage for the city, and you can nominate. This is really meant for businesses and individuals who do an amazing job of creating that green landscape and maintaining it. Coming up, we're going to be really looking for more trees from donations, such as from Unitil, and we'll be looking to find places to put them. This doesn't necessarily have to be in one of the city right-of-ways, but definitely prioritizing public spaces and public benefits. So if you have a constituent who might be interested in some of that, please let us know. This is something we can build on as a committee to try to find more opportunities for that to happen. And finally, I'm going to end up with, on a bittersweet note, actually we're talking about bittersweet. Bittersweet is an invasive vine that chokes out trees, and you see this all over the city. And so we're starting a new initiative where we'll have outreach materials, some training, and look at a couple of pilot projects on bittersweet control. We want to make the trees that we do have as survivable as possible. So really trying to push back against that. Lots of other great things doing, some plantings at the schools, Arbor Day coming up. Our own Mr. Mayor has been in several of these, and always looking for more partnerships in terms of getting trees in the ground. So if you have ideas in your own wards, please let us know. And with that, Tom, any last words? First words?
Yeah, we appreciate the partnership with the city, the Sustainable Tree Program, looking for that to continue to be fully supported and get more trees in the ground in Concord, and keep the focus on that urban greenscape as we grow and develop in the city and stretch out from the city center. So I know there's rules and regulations and considerations in zoning and all the other planning. So to the extent that we have an influence on that and want to advocate for trees, we'll continue to do so.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilor Kretovic.
Not a question, but a comment. Mr. Demirs, thank you so much for being the Lorax of our city for such a long time. And Mr. Daigle, just so you know, you have strong roots to fill. We appreciate you passing the torch, but do not have a flame.
Councilor Brown.
Yes, Mr. Daigle, will you work with the Energy and Environment Committee to really emphasize and educate people about the energy, the benefits of trees? Because I know that we had, some of the things we've passed out at the farmer's market has been how trees can really cool your home, and actually, you know, there's so much more than just health benefits, but it's actually reducing energy costs. Will you commit to that?
Yeah, I'd have to learn about what the Energy and Environment Committee does on a daily basis. I'm not intimately familiar with them, so of course I will.
Awesome.
And I think we can all have, we have some personal experience with how trees can be cooling, where trees come down on a street, and I notice as you ride your bike or walk or even drive your car and you pass where the shade used to be, it's no longer cool. So those things add up over time, and so to the extent that we can use trees in their natural form as energy savers, we should enhance that conversation.
Awesome.
Great. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you. With that, I will take my leave.
Verily.
Adieu.
Adieu, adieu, adieu. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to testify? All right. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm Wyatt Porter Brown. I live on 40 South Fruit Street, right down the street from Memorial Park, and I appreciate my predecessors and what they said about trees, and I'd just like to add, planting trees is a great thing. Problem with planting trees, it takes several generations for them to grow to maturity and become truly beneficial to the city. It's no surprise to any of you. I've spoken to some of you on the phone. The city manager's gone. I left him a message. I was walking my dog down at Memorial Field one day like I do every day, and was horrified to see the equipment out there ripping out all of the white pines, over 63 of them. Putting them into a giant chipper, driving them away in tractor trailers to be sold as probably biomass for energy. It came as a huge shock to me, all of my neighbors. We never heard anything about it. There was never anything said, and I called up, and the word I got was, oh yeah, it's great. They were old trees, they were falling down, they were a threat to the community, and we got it all done for free, yay. Well, what you got was hosed, really, because the value of those trees was much more than just free. If you go out there now and you look around on the ground, you'll see bird nests scattered all over the field. Trees don't just provide shade, which you're going to really miss this summer, trust me. They're habitat. They also filter the air, particularly white pine trees. They do all sorts of things that we don't really appreciate until they're gone. And unfortunately, you guys are going to have to realize that. Again, planting trees is great. It takes generations to appreciate it. So I come offering my observation, but also a solution. What the word I got was the decision to take them down was made by the city forester. Foresters are great people. They know a lot about trees. They particularly know about their commercial value. They don't know a great deal about value other than that. There is a qualified tree assessor who are professionals. They're licensed arborists who have specialized in this field and work primarily with insurance companies. Insurance companies, obviously, for cities and other people who have a risk assessment that they need to evaluate, will hire these people to go out and identify problems with trees and problem trees and which ones to take down. There's another value they have. Homeowners have feature trees. If a bolt of lightning comes down, blows it up, how are you going to replace that? Well, it takes an awful lot of money. And so insurance companies do actually insure trees. And that's what these assessors do. They go out there and they look two things, the risk and the value. And I think the city would benefit greatly by considering hiring somebody to go out and evaluate the trees, not just for a potential liability, but for the value they produce. I moved up here 8 years ago to Fruit Street, and I've been down to Memorial Field almost every day. And my pine shed, all trees shed. Limbs come off in the winter, and that just isn't, it's a natural fact. If you're afraid of trees falling on you, don't go hiking. And, you know, so to be told that these trees were a danger was a little bit a slap in my face. And so that, I just would simply say, consider hiring an assessor the next time you go out and log out 63 perfectly good white pine trees, wiping out virtually all the shade you have in Memorial Field. And there's one other thing too, working with VHB who are doing the master plan. The new driveway that is being introduced to go up to where the old, I think it was the house that the Walkers took for $5, moved it down Fruit Street. That driveway is going right through the middle of a bicentennial maple tree. So I called them up and I said, you guys need to move that stupid driveway because you're about to wipe out a tree that's older than our country. So pay attention to these things, they're important.
Thank you. Questions? Councilor Brown.
So actually, you said 63. I actually counted the stumps, and 255 trees were cut down in Memorial Field.
Yeah, even more shocking.
Any other questions? Councilor Caleb.
Just really quick, I just want to thank you for your civic engagement on this issue. You're my constituent. You reached out to me a couple of months ago, and we had a great conversation. It is clear that you're very passionate about trees, and we talked. Now you're here, and it's just great to see. So thank you.
No, my pleasure. I live in the neighborhood. It's a great city. I love it here. But I think there's a lot more we can do in regard to trees.
Councilor Davey.
I believe we're hiring a UNH fellow to do a tree inventory this summer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A tree assessor is the person you really want to have on staff. Not staff necessarily, but, you know, as a contract, just like Milestone.
You said you moved here 8 years ago. Where'd you move from?
Miami.
Oh. Oh, okay.
But my mother's family have a place up here, and I've spent a huge portion of my life up here. I learned to do tree work up here. I worked for Bartlett out of Meredith and PC Hogan Company. Worked for a tree, moved down to Maryland, worked for a tree company down there. Probably worked in trees as a climber for 12, 15 years till I got scared and went into construction.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for your testimony.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there anyone else who would like to testify? All right, seeing none, declare the public hearing closed. If no one on City Council objects, I'd like to combine the public hearing for items 38D, 38E, and 38F. They all relate to veterans' tax credits. So I think we can have that public hearing all in one.
We could do all of them.
The 38G is elderly exemption. It's slightly different, so I thought I'd just do that separately. Thank you. Madam City Clerk.
Wait, reminds.
First item is a resolution modifying the all veterans tax credit for the city of Concord. Then there's a resolution modifying the optional veterans tax credit for the city of Concord. And a resolution modifying the tax credit for service-connected permanent and total disability for the city of Concord, all pursuant to the RSA 7227A.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager.
Your Honor, members of the council, the Tax Exemption Policy Committee met on February 5th and reviewed the information submitted to them by the Director of Assessing regarding the existing exemption amounts for the elderly, blind exemptions, the existing income and asset thresholds for the elderly exemptions, and the existing veterans tax credits. I'm going to do the report all at once, even though you're going to have the hearing separate. A spreadsheet depicting the same information regarding the elderly, the blind, and the various veteran credits that the 13 other communities have adopted was provided for comparison. These are the communities that the City Council has picked out in the past. For the elderly section, presently the asset level for both single and married applicants is $150,000, not including the value of the applicant's primary residence. The current income thresholds are $44,100 and for single, and for married, 63,000. The exemption amounts for ages 65 to 74 is 80,000, for 75 to 79 years of age, 131,000, and for ages 80 and older, it's 223,000. The Tax Exemption Policy Committee recommends increasing the income levels from 44,100 to 45,500 for single applicants and 63,000 to 64,000 for married applicants. For the blind section, presently the exemption for blind exemption is 125,000. There's no change recommended. Regarding credits, the veteran tax credit and all veterans tax credit, the Tax Exemption Policy Committee recommends increasing the optional veterans tax credit and all veterans tax credit from $400 to $500. The optional veterans tax credit and all veterans tax credit must match the credit amounts per RSA 72:28-B. For service-connected, permanent, and totally disabled veterans and tax credit, the Tax Exemption Policy Committee recommends increasing the service-connected, permanent, and totally disabled veterans tax credit from $2,000 to $2,500. No other changes are recommended. Glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the city manager? All right, seeing none, is there anyone who would like to testify on any of these items? Item 38D, 38E, or 38F? All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Madam City Clerk, item 38G.
It is a resolution modifying the elderly exemption for the city of Concord pursuant to the provisions of RSA 7227A.
Thank you. The city manager has already read the report on that. Are there any questions from City Council? All right. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to testify on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. This brings us to public hearing action. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, H. Pardon me.
It's a housekeeping one.
It is yes. Well, that's why I swept it under the rug. Item 38H, please.
It is an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Title I, General Code, Chapter 9, Water, Article 9-6, Sewer and Drains.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager.
Your Honor, members of the council, the City of Concord's Wastewater Division, in cooperation with the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, recently completed a review of the city's sewer use ordinance. This review was initiated due to changes in both state and federal regulations which influence the city's use ordinance. As a result of this review, several sections of the current ordinance were identified. You can see those outlined in the ordinance that's attached for updating as in the attached ordinance amendment prepared by the city solicitor. These changes to the sewer ordinance are regulatory requirement. Not completing the sewer use ordinance change would trigger New Hampshire DES, Environmental Services, to issue a violation to the city for non-compliance. As a result, the City Council must update the sewer use ordinance to comply with applicable state and federal requirements. So again, it's housekeeping.
Thank you. Any questions for the city manager? All right. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to testify on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, and now we will move to the public hearing action phase. Madam City Clerk, item 39.
It is a resolution appropriating the sum of $385,000 in the Memorial Field Facility Improvement Project to remove and secure bleachers, authorizing a transfer from the general fund in the sum of $385,000, appropriating the sum of $385,000 in the general fund as a transfer out to capital, and authorizing the use of $385,000 in general fund balance for this purpose.
Move approval. Second. Moved and seconded. Discussion. Councilor Brown.
I would like to make a motion that we table this until there is a conversation with the Concord School District.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Okay. Discussion. Councilor Fennessy.
Thank you. I don't support tabling at this point. I think the removal of these is really a safety issue, and the longer we have unsafe stands up there and people utilizing the field, we have potential risk of someone going up there. Whether you can put all the fences you want up there and all of the warning signs, but teenage boys find a way.
Thank you. Councilor Keach.
Thank you, Your Honor. As I said earlier, these bleachers are going to come down sooner than later, so I just don't understand how delaying it is of any benefit at all.
Councilor Horn.
I would support this simply because of the safety factor, but I would respectfully ask that you call on me at the end of the public hearing action so I can make a motion to direct staff to start the conversation about the split and all the things we've been talking about.
I'm sorry, I'm not catching what you're saying.
I would like to make a motion not related to this, because I would like to pass this, but as Mr. Espel has stated, he's waiting for us to direct the staff to start the conversation around the split of costs and all of the other intricacies.
Okay. So when you say you're in support of this, is that the motion to table?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, all right. I would just mention that the ad hoc committee is sitting down on April 29th to start, with the school board representatives to talk about,
Right, but if we have, our next meeting would be after that, so then we could be able to talk about directing the staff after that. I think we would have to have a meeting starting in non-public just because the conversation could go anywhere from land sale or acquisition if we asked to give the school, the property, a whole conversation. So I would like to start the process now to get it on the next agenda for non-public to start the conversation, which would be after that meeting. We would have that information.
All right, let's get through this vote, and then I'm going to return to you, Counselor Kurtz.
I was just going to say that I support getting these bleachers down as soon as possible because of the safety issues, and I am glad that the Joint Committee is meeting April 29th, and I hope that there is a very robust discussion about thoughtful division of financing for this with a consideration to the issues, the concerns raised by the folks from Pennacook and MVSD.
Thank you. Counselor Kurtz? Counselor Schultz, I'm so sorry. Jeez Louise.
Well, I didn't want to get into this part of it until we got through this motion, but I just categorically oppose this expenditure at this time. It's really unfair that so much is being put upon taxpayers because of the downshifting of costs, and I hate that public schools in general are really not treated and respected as well as they should be by a number of entities. Having said that, I also hear regularly from people who are really frustrated with expenses we voted on a while ago, and I just can't justify $350,000 for a project like this at this time, liabilities having been discussed. I mean, obviously there are plenty of places in the city where we do put fences around things to keep people out, to keep people safe. That isn't the ideal way of handling things. I am not proud of this view in that sense. I could say a lot more, but I'll leave it at that for now. But that is just a part of my view on it. Really, we should be speaking to the motion on this, which would be the fair thing to do, is to have that conversation ahead of time. But I don't think that's going to impact the vote at all.
Thank you, Counselor Todd.
Thank you, Your Honor. I can't support a motion to table because throughout my career here on council, whenever there's been an issue of safety, I always vote to maximize safety. And I'm just concerned that one of the items that, in fact, we haven't touched upon yet is this would not just be a delay of, let's say, a couple of months until we get a report from school district or whatever committee about what's going to... We're not scheduled to start construction in any phase of Memorial Field for probably a couple of years, right?
Right.
So I don't envision any scenario where it's a good idea to not take those bleachers down and let them stand for another 2 years roped off in any fashion. So I won't be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion, Counselor Brown?
Yes, I didn't say we would leave it for 2 years when I made the motion to table, but I was thinking about what Mr. Schweiker said. I was thinking about what the residents of Pennacook had said. The fact that this was a sole source contract, the fact that the school district has not had the foresight that Merrimack Valley has had. We have approved a golf clubhouse in between, and that wasn't even on that wasn't even considered until 2022. So this is something that has been downshifted, 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 and now that we've put other things in place, multi-million-dollar projects, now suddenly we're worried about safety. I think we can rope it off. We have so many items coming forward. We approved $50 million, and $10 million of that was projects that we had approved 2 years ago. So, you know, this can come down. I don't want us to add any money. I don't want us to take any additional money if we want to take something that had been previously bonded. But I think it should not come from Pinnacook. It should come from the Concord School District. It does not. I'm not comfortable that they put all their eggs in one basket of we have to do the Memorial Field complex, and that's it. And there was no pre-planning in advance. You know, I think we need to take a pause. We're going into our budget next month. So, you know, a pause of a month to have the joint conversation about who's going to pay for this. And I don't think they're critical. Bleachers are not critical. So that's why I'm sticking with tabling.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other? All right. I will be voting against the motion to table. I agree with Counselor Todd, Counselor Fennessy, Counselor Kurtz. Safety is paramount, and I'm afraid I respect the idea that we can fence it off. I used to be a young boy, a teenager, and I did a lot of things and got into a lot of areas. Never broke the law, but where I wasn't supposed to be.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, don't dig into it. Anyway, so I will be voting against the motion to table. So the motion before us is to table this item. If you're in favor of tabling the item, you will vote yes. If you're opposed to the motion to table, you will vote no. Is the motion clear?
And a simple majority will carry.
Correct.
Roll call.
Roll call.
All right. A roll call has been requested by Counselor Fennessy.
Counselor Fennessy.
No.
Counselor Foote.
No.
Counselor Grady Sexton.
No.
Counselor Horn.
No.
Counselor Cagle.
Yes.
Counselor Keach.
No.
Counselor Kretovic.
No.
Counselor Kurtz.
No.
Counselor Schlosser.
No.
Counselor Schultz.
Yes.
Counselor Sekou.
No.
Counselor Todd.
No.
Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Mayor Champlin.
No.
Counselor Davey.
Yes.
The motion to table fails.
All right. Very good. The motion before us is to approve item 39. Counselor Horn, would you speak to what you wanted to do so that I'm trying to...
I don't think it would be part of this particular public action, but I want to make a motion completely separate stating that at our next meeting, I think May 11th, we are starting the process of letting Mr. Espel know how we feel he should go into negotiations with the school system on the split. And like I said, I've spoken with Mr. Espel about previously, we've offered the entire park to the school to give it to them to own and take ownership. So there would be a myriad of conversations of how we're going forward. And I would like to start that conversation in a non-public hearing at our next meeting. And we would have information from the joint committee on what they are planning to bring to the table.
All right. Counselor Kretovic.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think that Counselor Horn is asking the council to direct the city manager to start the conversation, period.
Period.
Without any timelines, it makes it
that
that
a
much simpler.
motion?
That's not what you're saying.
Hang on.
I'd second the motion.
Well, hang on.
No, it's not a motion.
Yeah, let me say, you know, we could certainly have a property discussion during non-public. We don't really need a motion for that. We could certainly schedule time before the next city council meeting. However, I will again say that Council Foote, Council Fennessy, and the school board members of the ad hoc committee, as well as the Parks and Recreation director and the athletic director from Concord High are meeting on the 29th to talk about kind of what the scope of it is And I think that until there is that discussion about the scope, talking about what I think you're talking about, which is kind of the division of responsibility, is a bit premature.
I don't think that's what she
Yeah.
said.
I'm sorry, Councilor Keach.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd also like to add, I don't think there's a consensus what direction we're going to go in, so.
That's why I'd like to have a
It's
conversation.
premature to start a discussion between the city and the school board until we as a council have a consensus as to what direction we want to head in.
5 o'clock, Heights Community Center.
Councilor Horn.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I would like to meet as a council and have this discussion that we're all part of, not just the joint committee that is 2 or 3, 4, I'm not sure how many counselors are on it, so that we are all having this conversation, you know, with Mr. Espel and come to a consensus together.
Clerk.
Yeah.
So, but that does not include me negotiating, which is what we were talking about earlier, with the school board or school staff. Because I have no direction from the council on what to negotiate for.
That's what I would like our meeting for us to
But you had
come to a
said start.
consensus.
That was different from what you originally said. It makes sense to have the discussion as the mayor explained it. So, yes, I'd be glad to be part of that,
Yeah.
and then lay out what I think all the options are, and then go forward and meet with the school board, or the school district staff, with city council members, if that may be the case. But right now, I think there's 15 people, I think there's probably 20 or 25 different opinions about the way this should go. So, at least.
Councilor Schultz.
Very good. I think that's why, well, I don't want to speak for her. I want to just clarify then. So what we're doing now is saying the city council will pay the whole amount listed. So on that note, to clarify that, I shouldn't say I'm not proud of my vote. It's not about shame or pride. It is about frustration and disgust with the way things have been compressed to our schools, to the city, to taxpayers, and that bears a bigger speech that I'm not going to give right now, other than to say, I just don't think that our taxpayers can afford this right now. I think it's really that simple. And would it be better to handle this the right way and do things the way that the plans outline? Yes. But I don't think we can afford to do any big ticket items right now when really what we're talking about is not using a spot. We're talking about not having use of a location. And we can say we're worried about liability. We are used to, as a society, handling liability very well in American society. I think there are ways to get to that without spending $250,000 at this time.
Councilor Grady Sexton.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your comments, Representative Schultz. I just think that the way that we handle liability is by payouts that could be much greater than what we're going to be expending right now, and which we're going to have to eventually expend, and it's going to cost more down the line. So I don't think that it is a fair statement to say that we're saving taxpayers dollars by not by holding off on this.
Councilor Sexton.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm supporting this because of what we listed earlier, the safety. But more critically, why I'm supporting this is really because Jeff Foot said there is a planned schedule to meet. Because I think this should be really a collective effort, not only related to the city council. But I would love also going forward to see not one proposal. I would love to see multiple proposals where we have an option to pick from, not just one option. Because if we are talking about tax credit, help reduce taxes for the city of Concord, then we have to have option to choose from. Because if you have one option, it's the final option. So I think safety matters, our kids matters, our community matters, but it's also always to have more than one option. We've seen it previously, many negotiations that we had throughout our time here since 2013. We say it's not possible, but we come to see that it's possible. So please, let's give people more choices. Thank you.
Thank you. I will be voting in favor of this motion for many of the reasons that have already been stated. I am concerned about the liability. I'm also concerned about injury to young people, or even older people, which can happen. I mean, that's, the loss of a life is something I don't want to consider. It may be an extreme chance or possibility, but we do have a responsibility, and we do have two decrepit structures. So I will be voting in favor of the motion. So, are we ready
Roll
for the
call.
vote? Roll call has been called by Councilor
Schultz.
This is
Thank you, Councilor Schultz.
the motion to have a conversation
No.
next.
This is the motion to
For
approve
the, okay.
item
There
39.
are no other
Yeah.
options, that's it.
Right. So if you're in favor of approving item 39 and moving forward with demolition of the bleachers, you would vote yes. If you're opposed, you would vote no.
And pass, could you clarify, please?
I'm sorry?
The criteria to pass the motion?
It is a simple majority. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a two-thirds. It's a
Sorry.
two-thirds.
Thank you.
Two-third majority.
Counselor Schultz?
No.
Counselor Seiko?
Yes.
Counselor Todd?
Yes.
Counselor Brown?
No.
Mayor Champlin?
Yes.
Counselor Davy?
No.
Counselor Fennessy?
Yes.
Counselor Foot?
Yes.
Counselor Grady Sexton?
Yes.
Counselor Horn?
No.
Counselor Caleb?
No.
Counselor Keach?
Yes.
Counselor Kretovic?
Yes.
Counselor Kurtz?
Yes.
Counselor Schlosser?
Yes.
Vote is 10 to 5.
Okay, so the motion passes.
Yes.
Are we ready for item 40? Item 40.
Yes.
City Clerk?
It is a resolution appropriating the sum of $526,968 in the vehicle and equipment replacement project for the replacement of 2 dump trucks, accepting the sum of $421,574 in grant funding, and authorizing the issuance of general fund general obligation bonds and notes in the sum of $105,394.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Councilor Brown?
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we pull this $105,394 from the Capital Reserve Fund Highway Paving.
Is there a second? Motion fails for lack of a second.
Wait, I'm sorry. This,
Can you say it again, please?
that is the Capital Reserve Fund, so it would not come from our unassigned fund balance.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay,
moved and seconded. You want to speak to your motion?
Sure. We have these capital reserve funds, and this is one of the purposes. It is for, Mr. LeBrun can correct me if I'm wrong, the highway paving. So this would be a use of those funds, those dollars. And this is a savings account that we have socked away. We use it for paving, we use it for the equipment. And I think because we have so many things bonded and we don't know how the revaluation is going to shake out, we should not be adding any additional increases to taxes. So my motion is that we use the $105,000 from the Highway Paving Capital Reserve Fund.
Councilor Keach?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll be voting against that amendment. During my 18 years on the council, historically, we've not adequately funded paving for many, many years, and any dollar we take away from paving is a serious mistake, so I'll be voting against that motion.
Councilor Fennessy?
I second everything you just said.
Okay, I saw somebody, Councilor Kurtz?
I have a question for Mr. City Manager, if it's allowable. Thank you. So just looking at these two items right in a row, and one, we're pulling money out of the general fund as a transfer to capital, and then this one, your recommendation is that we're bonding. How do you determine when to pull from the general fund and when to bond?
Sure. So when we look at the budget, for example, any budget, for example, you never just look at the year that you're in. You always look at future years, right? So money from the Highway Reserve Fund would go into your paving program. So if you look at your capital budget, you'll see what roads. So if you remove money from the Highway Reserve Fund, then you would reduce the number of roads that you're going to pave, or you could bond and bond that. Here, what I would do would be, when you get your budget that I'm putting together for fiscal year '27, these are vehicles, one of these is vehicles that we would buy in '27, one is, I think, in '28 or '29. So I would reduce the amount of bonding that you'd be doing in a month by doing it now and taking advantage of the 80% grant that we got, which I would think the city council would be ecstatic about. This is a very difficult grant program to get dollars from, and we've been able to achieve this, and we're saving the taxpayer out of the $527,000, saving them $421,000. So you would not have to bond that $421,000 the coming year or a year in the future. So that's.
Thank you. I absolutely support taking advantage of the grant. I'm just trying to understand the thinking around not a particular reserve, but general fund balance in the previous item versus bonding here. Why not? So don't touch paving. I hear the two counselors who spoke to paving. Why not the general fund balance for the $105,000?
Why not cash?
Correct.
Yep, you could use cash.
Okay, so it's.
But I was trying to reduce the amount of bonding that you're doing.
Right, reducing.
Again, paying the interest rate on that in the future when you can use state money to do that. So why would we spend taxpayers' money when we can spend state
No,
money?
but what I'm saying, is keep the grant, but for the part that you're suggesting we bond, why not pay cash for that part? Why not go to the general fund for that part? And I'm really just trying to understand, because how you determine.
Sure, because what you would do would be, when you see the general fund and the capital fund appropriations, you're going to see a reduced general obligation bond at that time. So that will save you future service dollars. If you spend cash on it now, then even though it's never really one-time dollars, because you're always replacing the vehicles after so many years. It's one-time money that's gone, that you're not going to have available, that you may need. This is kind of a foreshadowing, that you may need to keep the tax rate down in the future. What you spend it now, you're not going to have in the future.
Thank you.
Council Secretary.
I do think this is a legitimate question, because I think when we have fund sitting, especially the highway funds here, I have 3 questions. First, how much do we have in it? Secondly, how much are we planning to spend for the paving for the CIP 2027? Because I think if we do have money to use, that's the purpose of the money. If we don't have the money to use, then you can say, if you take the 105 today, then that means that we have to reduce, I don't know, the street paving.
Which is what I previously said, is you reduce the amount of paving that you.
No, but, so my question is, how much do we have today, and how much are we planning to spend for paving?
Brian, would you want to come?
Thank you.
Welcome, Mr. LeBrun.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. So I kind of like to work my way backwards if I could. The $385,000, if you can appreciate the bleachers, they're coming, they're going away. So that amount of money, typically, I would have made a recommendation that we should bond that money as a major capital project, right? But in this case, we're taking something, we're throwing it away. There's no more useful life for that. So, be something we should find a different funding source than bonding. And it'd be difficult for me with a straight face to tell the bonding agency or the rating agency or our financial advisors that we should bond that amount of money. So that's why that came from the reserve, right? So the fund balance, excuse me. The $105,000 for the trucks, if you can picture that, that's the useful life on those trucks. We would typically call that about 10 years. They usually push those useful lives on those to 15, sometimes even 20 years, depending on the maintenance of them. That is a classic bonded type of project that we could use. Sure, could we use highway reserves, in order to do that? We could do that. But if you think about what we're doing with the highway reserves, and you look at trying to manage that highway program of spending, right now we're spending about $2.8 million a year. We really need to spend more than that. So every dollar we do take out of there, then that's something that doesn't go towards paving neighborhood roads or any other projects that we need to do. So yes, can you do it? Certainly. But you're really trying to manage that, and we try to we used to have a couple of years of buffer in that fund, but there were a few years where we actually paved more projects, paved more roads in order to try to catch up. So that brought our buffer down. So now we have, last year I think we were kind of teetering on not having any buffer whatsoever. So I think it's just important that the council recognizes that, if you're going to bond something with a longer useful life, that makes a lot of sense. If it's something that's just simply going away, we really can't bond that. That's why we went to the fund balance for it. The paving reserve, I think we have probably just about $2 million in it right at the moment. So we really are relying on some additional dollars that would come in during the course of the year next year in order to fund the paving program that the city manager will likely approve, which will be similar to previous years. So we're really trying to manage those dollars as we go forward, as opposed to just having it as a one set item, for one particular year.
Councilor Secretary.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate this expertise because this really explained to us the why behind why you recommend it this way, right? Earlier when the city manager were explaining, because I think if you say we have 2 million now, we don't have any buffer. If we take that 105 out of the 2 million, that means we have to not pave a street here in Concord, which we don't want to do. But if we do have a buffer, and you just stated it, that it makes sense to bond because of the term of how long this will be, 10 or 15 years or even 20 years. I just wanted to know if there was a buffer, how much that would be if we take the 105 without touching anything.
Please don't, I don't want to misrepresent anything. If the city council wants to do it, the city council can vote to do it. Absolutely. It will impact the amount of paving that you can do in the future.
Thank you.
Councilor Brown.
Yes, so I just looked at the MS9 that was valid through June 30th, 2025, and I'd like to modify my motion not to come from the highway reserve, but to come from equipment. The equipment reserve has 535,000 in it, 276. So it would not come from the highway paving. Highway paving has 1,593,000. So I would like to reword my motion to say that we pull from the equipment reserve. I think this would meet that, whatever you call it, the purpose of that fund. And the reason I don't want to bond is the interest. When we bond, we're paying interest. And I'm just going to use the clubhouse because I just remembered looking at that.
Councilor, would you like to withdraw your motion?
I would like to withdraw and change and modify.
You were withdrawing your initial motion. Now would you like to make a new motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion.
And I withdraw my second.
Thank you.
Yes. And I would like to make the motion that it comes from the equipment, that reserve that has plenty, and we will not be incurring any interest.
Is there a second? Not hearing the second, the motion fails for lack of a second. Are we ready for the question?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor of item 40, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The item passes with a required 2/3 majority. Madam City Clerk, item 41.
It passes unanimously. Everybody voted yes.
Yes, but that's the required 2/3.
It's a resolution appropriating the sum of $5,000 in the Community Development Miscellaneous Grants and Donations Project for tree planting on city property and within public rights-of-way under the Sustainable Tree Program, and authorizing a transfer in the sum of $5,000 from the Urban Tree Trust Fund for this purpose.
Move.
Approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? We all love trees. Councilor Brown.
Yes, just for the record, I would like to note that we have cut down over 300 trees in Concord, 255 at Memorial Field, and 49 at Beaver Meadow. So I would like the city to really look at having an assessor for trees before we do any massive cutting, because it is a huge loss to us and posterity.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other comments, discussion? All those? All right. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The motion passes by the required 2/3 majority. Madam City Clerk, item 42.
It is a resolution modifying the All Veterans Tax Credit for the city pursuant to the provisions of RSA 7227A.
Thank you.
Move approval.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Counselor Brown.
I am recusing myself because I am a veteran.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Madam City Clerk, item 43.
It is a resolution modifying the optional veterans tax credit for the city of Concord.
Move approval.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Counselor Brown.
I am recusing myself because I am still a veteran.
Still,
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Motion passes. Madam City Clerk, item 44.
Oh, thank God. A resolution modifying the tax credit for service-connected, permanent, and total disability for the city of Concord.
Thank
Move
you.
approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Counselor Fennessy.
Thank you. I just want to quickly flag, the reason we're making this change in part is that there was a change in state law, and so you can't take both of those credits. So in order for those with the service-connected total disability to get the full amount of the benefit, which would be $2,500, it was determined that we would increase this one because you can't stack the credits like you used to be able to.
Right. All right. Thank you for clarifying.
I just want to say thank you for really stating the why behind it and also for giving people the opportunity to stack that benefits. I think this is very helpful.
I would highly recommend that the veterans or disabled veterans in the community take a look at this. The deadline is April 15th.
2 days from now.
2 days from now, right.
Okay.
All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Madam City Clerk, item 45.
It is a resolution modifying the elderly exemption for the city of Concord.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All right. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Madam City Clerk, item 46.
It's an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Title I, General Code, Chapter 9, Water, Article 9-6, Sewer and Drains.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. That brings us to consideration of items pulled from the consent agenda. Madam City Clerk, item 22.
This was pulled from consent by Councilor Brown. It's a report from the Deputy City Manager in Finance recommending the fiscal year 2027 City Council budget schedule and committee guidelines.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
Move
To
approval.
approve.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Councilor Brown, would you like to
Yes,
speak?
I would like to, well, make a motion to this, that everyone remembers the night that we were here well after midnight. I'd like to make a motion that we modify the work session and we separate the public hearing and the public action to happen a week later at our regularly scheduled June meeting.
So that's a motion.
Yes, that is a motion to modify. So the public hearing, public action portion takes place at our regularly scheduled June meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. All right. Discussion?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Councilor Teach.
Mr. Manager, how would that impact the timeline?
Oh, you have time.
Negatively or not?
No, you just mean you're here another, well, I don't think you could actually do it on, if you want to get into, during the, unless you really want a narrowed, like for May, you set the public hearings for June. I can't tell you what those will be yet. So, but if you had a really light meeting scheduled for June, probably accomplish it, but otherwise, you're just going to be here
Till midnight.
Yeah, for the next, so it's up to you how you want to do it, but I don't know what the May public hearing setting for June meeting is going to be yet. I don't know what, you may want to talk about Memorial Field for 5 more hours. I'm sure you probably will, and so.
Makes sense then.
Yeah, so there's a lot to talk about there.
Thank you, Fennessy.
I appreciate the thought. I'm not sure that it's going to solve us being here till midnight because we're going to have our regular agenda on for the regular June meeting. And so I won't support the motion, although I understand your concern.
Councilor Caleb.
I'm not sure it's necessarily about being here until midnight. I obviously wasn't at the table last year, but I was in the audience. Long night, but I think the idea is to give us time to think and reflect on what we heard. And I support that. I don't see an issue.
Councilor Predovic.
Thank you. I'm more worried about the public who are here for a public hearing, and to have our conversation about changes that we want to see in the budget. They then come and testify about those changes. And then we're talking about a week later having a whole different series of public hearings that then are on our regular agenda that we're now going to toss in with that a conversation about voting. You're shaking your head, so obviously I have it incorrect.
It was the public hearing, public action happens together at a later meeting. The work
So a
session
later
is-
meeting, but not the next council meeting, which is the week after.
But I would think the next council meeting.
So respectfully, the council always has the ability to recess the meeting and reschedule another one. So that already exists in our council rules. So I'll be voting against it.
Councilor Kurtz, did you have your hand up? Councilor Schultz.
Well, I guess I'm on the fence about this, but I do think that it is helpful for us. It's helpful for me that I heard from a reporter when I expressed my frustration during the campaign about how our budget hearings went and how that long night was when we made the vote, when we made the decision on the budget, that the reporter suggested the time that would be best to do or treat as a work session would be each day that we hear from the city staff, and that should be the time that we weigh in and look at each section of the budget at that point. I don't think that's a bad idea, but that is one thing that we can do, is treat each of those as a work session, and not just the question and answer part, but that does put the cart before the horse, and which I think happens too often with the city and when we hear from the public. I don't think we give the public enough opportunity during budget time to speak in the right order to help influence our votes on this, in my opinion.
Councilor
Thank you,
Foot. I'm sorry, Councilor Foot.
I appreciate your comments, Councilor Schultz, but I think systemically that's problematic, because you're asking us to make decisions on one portion of the budget before we've been able to hear the entire budget. So my decision on one item might very well be different once I'm able to hear the entire budget. So I think before we make decisions, it's important that we hear the entire budget.
That's not what exactly I meant, but that's okay.
Councilor Fennessy.
I might be mistaken, but I think we take public comment each night that we have a meeting of the Finance Committee. So I do think the public gets, is it 6 opportunities to provide comment before the night in which we actually do our work session and take the public hearing. So I think there's lots of opportunities to participate, and I would be reluctant to have a gap in time between when we get input and then we're supposed to, actually, no, it works the opposite way. We would do a work session, we would try and figure out something, then we would get public comment, and then act, a week later.
Mr. Rispel.
So the suggestion was something the city council did for about 12 or 15 years, up until 3 or 4 years ago. So that's not an original suggestion. That was something copied from what the city council, practice the city council had for almost 2 decades. And then went off of it because of exactly what Councilor Fennessy said, because you get public safety in front of you, and you'd say, and I'm going to be facetious, is that all you want? And then you'd vote on it.
Oh, I didn't mean vote, but okay.
No, but you would vote on it. That's what, no, because you take a tentative vote on it, and then, which is a vote. And then the next up would come community development, and you do community development, and you'd vote on that. And then you get to the end, and you look at it, and you say, what's the tax rate? And the tax rate's 75% increase, because you took all these individual votes, and you hadn't heard all the ones that came before. So then you got away from that and said, you know what we're going to do? We want to hear the entire budget. Then we'll take a vote after we hear the totality of the budget. That's it. So yes, you did that for about 15, 20 years.
Councilor Kurtz.
Yes, thank you. Could we put on this schedule, can we just indicate on each date that, can we just add public hearing at the end. Last year I disseminated this to constituents who wanted to know when we were talking about each things, and it's not clear from looking at this that public comment is allowed on each of these nights. So in order to just better communicate with the public that if they want to speak specifically to capital projects or general services, that they can do so each night. That may lessen the length of the final meeting if folks have come out earlier to speak to specific sections. Is that a reasonable adjustment?
Councilor Davey.
To Councilor Kurtz, build on Councilor Kurtz's point, can they speak to topics that are in other meetings on different nights? Like if someone can't attend the community development night, but they want to speak on a community development part of the budget, can they do that at a different one of the budget meetings? Will the public hearings allow for that?
I would probably be fairly flexible.
Okay.
I mean, normally we ask people to speak to germane topics.
Understood.
But the budget is the budget, and I would be fairly flexible about that.
Understood.
Councilor Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I just want to clarify, I didn't mean to vote each night. I just meant that we could suss out together in our conversation as counselors and mayor during that time. But here's the real issue, just looking back to how things went before, is I didn't understand that there were going to be proposals that certainly the public didn't get to comment on, that I didn't fully understand, and that I think I'm part of the reason why the meeting went so late, and for that I apologize. But I don't feel like there is a decent amount of opportunities then for us to have a work session. The one thing I support in the motion is having a work session separate from the vote may give us some breathing room to have that conversation in a way that makes more sense without feeling the pressure of the vote to be immediate. I don't know if it's a good idea, but I don't think I want to do it the way at least my role in it, that I did a year ago.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Brown.
Yeah, so I am just thinking about how that night went. And the public hearing started at 11 o'clock or after 11 p.m. So that meant that all those people were sitting and waiting. So it's really in consideration of our constituents and residents that they know this is a work session and they can just watch us online, that there's no opportunity to speak. They can see us hash it out, discuss it, and then connect with us after. Connect with us one-on-one. So I want there to be some opportunity for people to digest what we've discussed at our work session. And after a full week or after, weeks of really taking everything in, I personally would really love to have that pause and to give people an opportunity to come and tell me what they thought of the work session. Because as it was only the people that stuck it out after 11 p.m. and a lot of people couldn't do that.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to vote against the motion. The motion is Councilor Brown's, which is to change the schedule. I'm going to vote against it for many of the reasons that have already been said. I think there's I have a real concern about, first of all, my hope is that it doesn't take us as long. It will be a challenging budget year, but I'm relying on the city manager to present us with options that help us make our decision a lot cleaner and more easily than we made them last year. I think last year shows the difficulty in paring down a budget and making tough decisions. We can go through the budget line by line. That's not, we should certainly look at it line by line, but going through a work session and trying to go line by line will get us back to where we were a year ago. So I'm hoping that our exercise this year will be more time efficient, but have no less, participation and interaction. I also have concerns about, coming to an agreement on the budget and then, having a delay during which, whatever budget agreement we came to starts to unravel, which I've seen happen in many other instances. So I will be voting no on this motion. We ready for the vote?
Roll call.
Certainly. Councilor Brown calls for a roll call. So if you're in favor of Councilor Brown's motion, you would vote yes. If you're not in favor of Councilor Brown's motion, you would vote no.
Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Mayor Chambliss?
No.
Counselor Davy?
Yes.
Counselor Fennessy?
No.
Counselor Foot?
No.
Counselor Grady Sexton?
No.
Counselor Horn?
Yes. Yes.
Counselor Caleb?
Yes.
Counselor Keach?
No.
Counselor Kretovic?
No.
Counselor Kurtz?
No.
Counselor Schlosser?
No.
I'm so
No.
sorry. No, thank you. Counselor Schultz?
Yes.
Counselor Sekou?
Yes.
Counselor Todd?
No.
Failed 6-9.
All right, thank you. So are we ready for the vote on the motion to approve item 22? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? All right, the motion passes. That brings us to item 23. Madam City Clerk.
This was pulled from consent by Counselor Brown. It's a report from the Ad hoc Semi-Quincentennial Tricentennial Committee requesting use of official city marks.
Approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Councilor Kretovic.
Thank you, Your Honor. Although I chair this committee, I'm also an officer at the Concord Historical Society, so I'll be recusing from this item.
Thank you. Councilor Brown?
Yes, I just am looking at the coin, and I didn't recognize this. You know, this side of the coin looks...
Want to hold that up? I can't
Yes.
tell what you...
This, yes, it's not our State House. It could be the gas holder, but the gas holder's not gold. Faneuil Hall top looks like that, and
Counselor,
then Concord Mass.
this is the logo.
This is the revised.
This is the
yes.
revised logo.
Yep, so I just wanted to confirm that it's the revised, because that was not available
Yes.
when I pulled this.
Yes, that part was provided in error. Councilor Foot.
I also will be recusing myself from this vote.
Why?
Because
You like money.
My spouse is on the same committee as Councilor Kretovic.
Thank you.
Speak up.
All right. We have a vote to approve on the, before us.
Revised.
All the, yes, with the note that it is the revised design. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. That brings us to comments. I'm going to start with Councilor Foot because he did a great job this weekend.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. Quickly, we had another cleanup day. I think we had about 3 dozen volunteers, picked up over 200 blue bags of trash along the roadway and the railroad tracks. In addition to that, a butter brought in dumpsters and had some equipment there. It was very successful. I was very thankful for Councilor Kalab relative to her effort in organizing the folks at one site while I was over and joined by Mayor Champlin with the other folks. So it was a good hour and a half of productive work to make the city a better looking place, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Respectfully, Your Honor, item 34.
Item 34 was put back onto the consent calendar.
My apologies. Thank
That's
you.
all right.
So I have 3 things. The first is it's Concord Reads. The Concord Public Library Foundation is a nonprofit that is completely supporting this, and there are some fantastic activities for kids, for adults. You get to actually meet or see Cy Montgomery, the author. She's going to be at the Bank of New Hampshire stage April 23rd at 6:30. Concord is reading this book. It is fantastic, of time and turtles. And we have that turtle statue in the library, so I would encourage everyone to go in, pick it up, and participate in the Concord Reads program. Also, the library is amazing for more than just books. This is a lit kit, and as you know, we're looking at April vacation. Parents can look at taking out this kit, and it has books like this one has how to use a compass. It has a compass in it. It has all kinds of gear. So this is just a fantastic, something that's not a book that's at the library. And also, the library has, it's a library of things. And this is a metal detector. We have an adult metal detector and a kid's metal detector. and while I was out there waiting, I detected some metal, but I didn't have anything to dig with. So this is something super fun that you can check out at the library, among other things like a karaoke machine. So I just think everyone should check out the library. That was the first thing. Second, I am going to be I'm going to be co-leading a tree tour with our first landscape architect, Bob Pollock, May 1st during the Petals and Petals First Friday event. So from 5 to 6, we're going to be doing a tree tour starting at Memorial Arch. And then lastly, I'd like to really just a shout out to Project Story students at the State House. So there were students that did a tour of the State House, and we had a middle schooler testify on a bill before the Senate. It was HB 1633, and she testified that, we're learning about constitutional law, and I think this is really important, and that bill is expanding information to survivors of sexual assault regarding their existing rights. And she was very passionate about that and talked about sharing that with other students. And 340 representatives approved it. So this is a fantastic resource that we have for our students to go to the State House and testify before the Senate and the House. So that was awesome.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Sekou.
Thank you. Okay, the Muslim community celebrated Eid on March 20th, and I will tell you, I don't have enough words to express our deepest gratitude to the police department that provided the safety, because we celebrated outside of the mosque, as was recommended by our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Eid celebration should be outside, not inside the mosque. David Gell and his team went above and beyond to accommodate. So our fullest gratitude to the entire city staff for really making this possible. On behalf of the Islamic Society of Greater Concord and all Muslims, thank you all for a great celebration on March 20th.
Thank you. Councilor Schlosser. Right. Councilor Caleb.
Okay.
You missed kudos from Councilor Foote.
Oh, no.
Wonderful job, Meg.
Yeah.
Wonderful job Saturday. Appreciated your leadership.
Thank you.
With those folks. Nice
Thank
work.
you. And I appreciate Councilor Foote for organizing it. I was super happy to get the word out, and I think we did some great work, and it felt really good to connect with some individuals were my constituents, others just, they saw it, I'm not sure how, through the patch, through social media. It felt great, so wonderful. A few more things. Councilor Sekou, Councilor Schultz, Councilor Davey, and myself, the Renters Caucus, we are offering a Zoom webinar April 21st, 5:30 p.m. The registration link will be, you'll probably get sick of seeing it because I'll post it everywhere all the time. We are hosting someone from New Hampshire Legal Assistance to give a little crash course in knowing your rights as a renter. So we're really excited. Let's see. Earlier this month, Councilor Schultz and I had the opportunity to sit down with Karen Emmis-Williams from City Welfare to learn about the department, all that they do. I can't recommend that enough. I learned so much. We actually had the meeting in 2 parts. We had to come back again, because we took a lot of time for the first part. She is incredibly knowledgeable about her job, about the RSA that she operates under, and the first, I think it was April 1st that we met with her, and that was the same day. That was a Wednesday. That was my last day volunteering for morning checkout at the emergency winter shelter. So I had gone there in the morning, 6 a.m., and then later to City Welfare, and that was emotionally, it was a tough day, thinking about our most vulnerable individuals and what is available to them. It was a lot, and I really, really appreciate her time. So that was great. And let's see. On a personal note, I have a new constituent, baby Felix, the daughter of one of my closest, longest-term friends. Almost 30 years this person and I have been friends, and so I would like to welcome baby girl Felix to Ward 6 and to the world. She is adorable, and I think that is all I've got.
Council Fennessy.
Thank you. I just wanted to flag one of the items that was on our consent calendar, which was 25 from Parks and Rec. It was a report regarding a Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire marker for William Penn Thompson. Some of you may know Bill Thompson Park, which is over by Chris McAuliffe, but this marker will actually be over at White Park near the baseball field. This is one of those people that until you spend a lot of time in Concord and talk to David Gill, who's done a lot of research, you find out one of these people in history that people lose track of. So he's believed to be one of the last African American baseball players to compete in integrated team before Major League Baseball did sort of the gentleman's agreement to exclude black players in about 1920. So he played for various barnstorming teams, primarily in Vermont, but he came back to Concord, and I believe the story is that he worked for many years at the pool hall, which I believe was on North State, maybe North Main. I could have that wrong. But I think it's great that there's going to be a marker in a slightly more prominent place. Thompson Park's one of those, I would say, one of those great parks that many people don't know about, that I know certainly my kids and others in the neighborhood have used at various points in time. So I just want to flag that for everybody. And that's all I got.
Okay. Council Beach?
I'm good, thank you.
All right. Council Grady Sexton.
Thank you. This week is National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, and I'd like to thank all of Concord's dispatchers. Every day they answer calls at people's worst moments and respond with calm care and expertise, and I know we're all deeply grateful for all of their commitment and service to Concord. So thank you.
Thank you. No? Council Schultz?
I just want to say, in part just for myself, that I've given speeches here before about loving your neighbor. I'm very grumpy tonight, and some of these votes are going to be difficult over the next couple months. And I just want to reiterate that loving our neighbor in this wonderful community is a good thing, and just even saying that makes me feel better. So I don't exactly look forward to some of those conversations, but I know that we're all here for the right reasons, and for that I'm grateful. I also want to say how much I appreciate Councilor Caleb for taking the reins on these meetings. And when I said, oh, you guys are meeting with these folks, I want to do that too, that she was so nice to let me in on that. And on that note, I owe a public apology to our Public Works General Services Director, Jeff Hoadley, because I messed up an appointment that I was supposed to make with him and members of his staff, and I'm very embarrassed by that. And there's a lot more things that I could say, but I'll save it because it's late.
Councilor David.
The Central New Hampshire Regional Planning Commission is gearing up for its regional master plan, and they have a really cool engagement site up right now. I think this is a really opportune moment with our own city master plan coming up. I think there's a lot of opportunities for collaboration on both engagement fronts, and I think it speaks to much of Merrimack County. I'm really excited for them and hope to get that out there. I have 3 things for CAT, Concord Area Transit. There is a UNH student who is doing a lot of research for them right now on the history of some of their routes, some of their needs, and what they have going on right now. He is approaching the end of his semester, so if you want more information on that, I would recommend getting in touch with CAT ASAP. CAT is looking to host a group ride where some of their leadership will be on the buses explaining what they do and what their challenges are in this moment. They're looking at either May 15th or May 17th. They have not finalized yet, but get in touch with them or Concord Green Space soon to find out. Last thing on CAT, they are looking for volunteers to do a boarding and a lighting study on May 19th, 20th, and 21st, 2-hour shifts. They have a sign-up Genius form going up right now. Again, reach out to their staff. I think that's really, really critical data that they need, again. Lastly, I'll thank Councilor Todd for setting up the Win Waste tour for some of us. I got a chance last week to tour the waste-to-energy plant up in Pennacook, and it was phenomenal. Thank you to Kevin and his team. They were hilarious. I love that staff. They do really good work up there.
That's terrific.
Thank you. Briefly, many thanks that you covered William Penn Thompson. The application was actually put forth by one of my, I can't say my husband's former scouts, that is a resident of Ward 3, Ryan Cutting. Good job, man, you did well.
Councilor Hort.
As we touched on with our vote, the exemptions and credits are available to the residents of Concord and Pennacook, veterans, blind, elderly, and you can go to our website under the assessments page and apply for those. It is by April 15th. Also, just for my own clarity and for the public, I just want to clarify, we are meeting as a council next month to start the discussions on the Memorial Field minutia that we want to get into.
Non-public.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Your Honor. No announcements. I would like to cede my time to the city solicitor's office so that we get to meet its newest member.
I was wondering if I was holding on for that. Thank you, Councilor Todd. So I'd like to introduce Danielle Sikowski. She joined us as the new Deputy City Solicitor, so I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I've met some of you, but not all. I'm happy to be here. My name is Danielle Sikowski. I came from USDOJ prior to this, prosecuting white-collar cases, and before that I spent 9 years at the New Hampshire AG's office, also prosecuting cases for them. So I'm happy to be here and to be with the city. Welcome.
Did you really cede your time, or did you? No, all right. Councilor Fennessy and Councilor Kretovic kind of stole my thunder because I also wanted to highlight the Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire sign, which is something that I had talked with David Gill about several months ago, a couple of years ago, back before I was mayor. And I'm glad to see it finally come to fruition, thanks to Ryan, who was an intern with the Black Heritage Trail moving forward. Bill was born in Virginia. He moved here in the 1880s, and he was a significant individual in many ways. He was apparently a hell of a catcher. I believe briefly he managed a team as well, but also he never, after he initially came to Concord and started playing in 1891 for the YMCA team that was a traveling team that traveled around the region, he settled here at a time when biracial marriages were outlawed in some states. He married his Irish immigrant wife and lived here in town. He did work in the pool halls, but after his baseball career was over, he also was the beloved custodian of the Concord Police Department when it was in the building which now houses Margaritas. And he was well known as again, a revered person. He was extremely involved with the Sunset League, played in the Sunset League, and then after his playing years were over, he was a fixture at the opening day ceremonies. Every opening day. There's a great photograph in our packet of him with a group of dignitaries, including the then mayor of Concord, as well as the governor of New Hampshire, and other people who were here celebrating the Sunset League, which is the oldest Sunset League in the country, I think. So I'm very, very pleased. I also wanted to highlight, Council Fennessy mentioned the William Penn Thompson play lot. When this city council approved that, naming that play lot after Bill Thompson, which was less than a year after his death, it was in 1961 when segregation and Jim Crow laws were still prevalent in parts of this country. And the city council in this community decided to name a public facility after an African-American man who was beloved in the community. So I just want to highlight that. I know that Dave Gill is very proud of that fact, and it's going to be highlighted on the Black Heritage Trail plaque. And finally, I will say, I hope that this is the first of a number of Black Heritage Trail markers that we get put up in the city of Concord. So, here, here. All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Thank you, everyone.